See, ain't no party like a Cowboys party. Let's get it. Two things can be true. Plus matchup versus Vikings. Let's go. And more. As we continue to grind, to shine, keep this in your mind or on your heart, soul, and sinew. Hit the like button, share this content, let a friend, let a neighbor, let everyone know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Come on. Ain't no party like a Cowboy party, yeah. Let's get it, baby. As the room fill up, shout out to the Facebook swag. Appreciate y'all for swagging. Shout out to you, Chris214. Alex Greer. Appreciate you. Let them hang. Game. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. All right. What's up, everybody? What's good with you guys so much? I thank you for jumping in. All right, so two things can be true, right? That's the title of this story. And the Cowboys heading into, this is week 11, right? We are 6-3, not 3-6. This is a must-win game. Every week is a must-win game, right? To stop the Vikings from going 9-1, basically. If you want to fight for a spot in the playoff, we got to continue. The Giants right on our heels, or excuse me, the Giants above us now, and we fall into third place in our division. We got a lot of things to do. Shout out to the Washington Commanders, but, they looking at the Dallas saying like, okay, lose, Dallas, lose, so that they can get into the tournament, right? It's all about getting into the tournament, by the way. Anything can shake from there. I think in the last 10 or so years, more teams won the Super Bowl by not being the number one seed, right? So you just got to get in there, and then once you're in there, the season starts over. But the qualifications is you got to win. You got to prove it that you belong in it. And the Cowboys, since 06-07 season, have not made back-to-back playoff time. And on top of that, the last time we kind of made back-to-back playoff time plus with wins was 94-95 season. So we're talking about decades upon decades of failure, right? So we got to figure this out. And I get it, right? A lot of people don't like it,
You could not live with your own failure.
Right. A lot of people don't like that when we spit the truth. A lot of people, I'm looking and reading over comments, and shout out to my Cowboy family. Appreciate you guys if you're there. Shout out to you, JR214. Thank you for all of the work that you do with the thumbnails and everything. I appreciate you for helping out. We talk about this right here, the truth. The hardest pill to swallow, right? A lot of people, they angry at me. They acting like I'm the reason why the Cowboys defense get ran all over, right? They acting like I'm the one that dropping back, right? Going left, going right, and throwing an interception, right? They acting like Law Nation is the one that threw the ball 46 times, right? Or calling the plays for Dak Prescott to throw the ball 46 times. Like, I'm the reason why. If I wish I was, Jerry, help your boy out. Send me a million. I will settle for $1 million. Now that I think of it, make it 200, million. But I appreciate y'all so much, right? So we're going to listen in to Mike McCarthy. He was on 105, as well as some Jerryisms. We're going to listen to what Jerry had to say, too. And basically, we are in the thick of it, right? We are. And the Cowboys need to figure things out.
Every quarter is such a premium. Every possession. And, boy, I can measure with you probably the number of possessions and get it within 3 or 4% that we're going to have over the rest of the regular season. Boy, we got to make each one of those count. We've got to start making early some first downs on our initial possession. We need to move the chains. That's hard to not go out there and several times step up there like we did Sunday and not get a first down on your first possession. So all of that's, I mean, it's easy to point to. We can see it. And by the way, we do have solutions.
All right, so he said that they have solutions. My thing is, if you're talking about first down and possessions in the first quarter, we ain't talking about football, man. We ain't talking about football. We're talking about a feel-good story. You know, shout out to those who watched Black Adam. One of the key parts of that movie were when they were trying to figure out how to stop the adversary in that movie, or the opposition. That's the best way to say it. And one of the people said, a bad plan is better than no plan, right? And that is true. If you have a plan, at least you can put forth an action to it. Sometimes when we look at the Cowboys, it appears that they have no plan, right? Shout out to you, Chris Davis. He says, my 14-year-old daughter can call better plays than Kellen Moore. And here's the thing. Kellen Moore, I truly believe it's been year 4 now. I truly believe that Kellen Moore is a brilliant guy. Wonderful guy. But it appears that, like what Brian Broder said, he's a collector of plays. He grabs a bunch of plays, gather them together, and he throws it out there and see which ones stick. Now, I know it can sound crass. You know, I'm not in the meeting rooms. I'm not in the quarterback rooms. I'm not in the running back rooms. But to me, it appears that that is what he's doing. If that's not what he's doing, then this could be the situation and scenario. His results look like that. But when it's time for him, and I'm not bashing him, when it's time for him to put together a brilliant game plan as it relates to balanced approach and things like that, we've seen it. We know it can happen. We've seen 4 games of him doing that, especially when he had Cooper Rush under center, right? And then when he wanted to stand tall with his chest out. The same kind of game that we seen last week was the same kind of game that we seen the final week of Cooper Rush versus the Eagles. Pressing, getting pass happy. Now, I get it for the people that will bring up and point out, hey, Law, they did run the ball for 27 to 28 times, right? You know, but we look at it as if though those runs were primarily hush run. Like, oh, man, let's just run it out of there. You know what I'm saying? To say for good sake that we ran the ball. And if you go back and look at the film, you'll see what I'm saying. Like, there's no setup, right? Jab, and then hit him with the haymaker. I saw the game last night. Show of hands who saw the Titans versus the Green Bay Packers game. Let me know if you saw that game last night, because I know y'all watch all football. I know y'all just don't watch Cowboys, right? Gotta know where you at, right? Let me know if y'all watch all football. Brandon, 24/7. I rock the mule. Alex, okay, so y'all watched the game. And basically, I was saying in that game that watch what the Titans do when they get into the red zone, money zone. And they just line them up. Power football. And they ran it in. And then on the second time they ran it in, or they threw the ball or what have you, I'm getting off on the series of times that they scored, but y'all just follow me, right? I follow them, but I don't follow them that closely. So my recall may be a little rigid. But the second time I tweeted out, I said, watch. Take notes, Kellen Moore. And they power ran it in for the score. Okay, it was up 14. But on the third time they was in the red zone, money zone, I said, watch, they're not going to get killed. They're just going to play some good old-fashioned football. And people in the Twitter was like, nah, Law, he got killed because, what's his name, Derrick Henry big boy, number 22 or whatever number he wears. He threw the ball in for a tub, right? And he said, no, Law, he got killed. But why was that available? Why was that an option for him? Why did that took place? Because he earned that, ladies and gentlemen. They presented power and they finessed him. So when I say, look, don't get too cute, is when you are trying to do that play when you have not established something. But with so many characters on Twitter, you can try to go back and forth with people and they would never understand it. They would never understand that you run to open up the pass. They would never understand that the reason why Ryan Tannehill was able to fit that ball on the outside to the receivers is because he didn't throw it in quadruple coverage, right? Because they didn't rely on his arm. They ran the ball, they got the favorable looks, and he was able to eat on the one-on-ones, which was so bad that if Ryan Tannehill were to throw into double and quadruple coverages, he would have had more than one interception last night. He threw an INT last night, right? And at the time, you can argue and say, hey, they was too cute because it was 2nd and 1. You got Derrick Henry, right? But they try to finesse him. And I don't mind a team that's trying to finesse a team after they done earned that part of it, right? It's sometimes you can be aggressive, right? And sometimes it's not ready for you to be aggressive. But if I'm on my side of the 50, right? Right? If I'm in my territory, you get a shot to be aggressive, right? If I'm grinding and pounding, it's okay to do a play action. That's all I'm saying, right? Law, did you see the last play before the 2-minute warning? Yeah, Alex, I believe that was a play that they got all the way down there. Now the resiliency factor of the Green Bay, they did try to fight back, but Aaron Rodgers was looking like the Aaron Rodgers that he looked like versus the Lions and the other teams that he played. He didn't look like he looked like against the Cowboys. And they did, to their defense, they did stop the run better, right? And a lot of people will bang on the table and say, Law, we don't need X, Y, Z. But when I looked at the Titans, can somebody put Simmons? Can y'all put his size and height and measurables down? Is he an edge rusher or he's an interior fit, right? Because I saw him getting upfield. And for those who are out there, I know we're talking about that the Cowboys need help on containing and setting the edge and things like that. Who you taking off the field? The issues that we have with stopping the run, two things can be the same. Two things can be true. We have issues as far as scheme, and we have issues with talent, size. We do. When we look at this, let me pull up my Twitter. When we look at this, and we see these numbers right here, and we see yards per rush 4.8, ranked 26th in the National Football League. Run, stop, win rate. Win rate, 28%, 30th. There's only two other teams that's horrible than us in that category. And if I'm a betting man, those two other teams not even in the playoff. I guarantee you that if I start looking it up. Rush, 10-plus yards, tied for 27th. Some people will look at this and scoff over it and say, well, Law, man, you just hating on the Cowboys, man. Shame on you. Stop whining. Everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. And you chastise those who you love. If I didn't care about the Cowboys, I wouldn't be talking about this right now, baby. My daughter came home 2 weeks ago. She's in first grade. She did terrible on her spelling test, right? So when I got off of work and got ready to go over the work with her, I said, we went over this multiple times. Why didn't you pass? She said she was scared. She was nervous because she wanted to make 100 so she can be proud of me, right? So I can be proud of her. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. We went over this, you knew this, but why? Don't give me that excuse. But then I had to hear again. She was so fixated on being perfect, she was wrong. I know that she had the ability, right? And I told her, I looked her right in her eyes and said, hey, it's not about making me proud. I want to make sure that you know what you know. Take your time. Put me out of it. Do it for yourself. At first grade, lo and behold, she passed every other test. 100, 100, 100. Got all of them right. The Cowboys, I believe that they are trying to be so right. They want to make Cowboy Nation proud. They want to make everybody say, hey, man, this is the 2000 Ravens. Hey, man, Michael Parsons is the MVP of this team or the Defensive Player of the Year. Do your assignment. Do your work. Do it for yourself. Stop playing hero ball. Coaches need to reach out to those players and say, hey, there's nothing we can do at this point. There's no one that's going to save you. Trade deadline is over with. Free agency, whoever we get now, they've been on the street. They didn't grind with you. They didn't have blood, sweat, and tears out there in Oxnard with you. We got to do it for ourselves. We can't be lobbying for this guy. We can't be lobbying for that guy. We got to do it for yourself. Stop. Yeah. Nick says stop seeking validation from outside. You know, one of the greatest things for Trayvon Diggs this offseason, he got off of Twitter. He got off of it. PFF every single week was scoffing at that man, right? Telling him that he's less than. Telling him, and people don't think that those low vibrational characters on Twitter or words that people say that scoff at you don't bring you down. There's power in the mouth, right? In the tongue, life and death. You can speak a lot of things into existence. You can manifest a lot of things. But when Trayvon Diggs got off of Twitter, it seemed like it opened up a brand new reality, a realm of new possibilities. He is having his best season, ladies and gentlemen. He is. Why? Because he stopped listening to all of the toxic, the trash. Maybe that's what this team collectively need to do. I truly believe West Coast Cowboy, he had a wonderful video breaking down Mike McCarthy of what he did to the team last week. Took those boys on a tour, you know what I'm saying, of the Green Bay facility and broke down the legacy on why it's so important that they play and win this game for him. He created a monster. Those players, think about it. All of those players are young guys. Everybody on that team young. That's not a person on this team older than me. All of those guys are super young. They're in their early 20s. Close. The oldest person is probably D-Law, 30 years old, just a young kid, right? And you are pouring upon all of that on them, putting the weights of all of the legacy of the Lombardi, right? And the things of what the Cowboys should and can't do or what have you, right? Those guys went in there and they created their own monster that destroyed them. It was in the mind. Oh, man. Green Bay, man, sure, it's cold. The legacy, we haven't beat Aaron Rodgers. We can't stop the run. Oh, my goodness, the all-time record. The footsteps became louder and louder. But when in actuality, they were just an average team, a below-average team, basically. That's why I was angry. Look what the Titans did to Green Bay just last night. Look what the Lions did to Green Bay just last night. Why? Because their coach didn't take their team all through the Lambeau tunnel, and this is what the legacy means, and this is where that happened, and this is where that play happened. No. They just play football. But when you try to make someone proud, right, of you, you freeze up. You lock in too much. You overanalyze. And you don't pass. Let those boys play football.
We have solutions. We've got personnel solutions, and we have great awareness about, I think, what this is going to take with our coaching staff. And the other thing is that where we can, we're trying to improve the team where we can.
We had Sean and RJ have Michael Irvin on every week, and he was talking about Justin Jefferson and the competitiveness of this person and how he's been told. There have been people that have said that Michael Irvin is the most competitive person ever, and this guy might be the next. And I was just kind of curious on, knowing Michael Irvin the way you did and his work that he put in and seeing what Justin Jefferson has become this early in his career. What are your thoughts on that player and seeing him this week against Diggs?
Well, you're tempted to go to Jefferson's competitiveness. And,
Right.
Not just his athletic ability, but his competitiveness. And that is the case. And you can...
Steve, no. Just stop that way. No. We beat Green Bay in 2016 at Green Bay. But I feel what you're saying, Steve, though. The last time the Cowboys beat Green Bay. Oh, David Irvin. I thought you said Michael Irvin. Okay, my bad. Oh, you're right. My bad, Steve. I didn't read it all. I thought you just said Michael Irvin. David Irvin got a G on his name. Michael Irvin don't. So that's what threw me off, too. But shout out to you. You my dog, man. Appreciate you.
You can take that competitiveness and you can build world champions around it. And that's exactly what we did with the Cowboys. Michael was our heart and soul of our team. And he was the perfect guy to build around. He had his foibles. He had his mess-ups. But he just simply, he'd be down there between two-a-days when everybody else is catching a little rest for the afternoon practice. Those were padded two-a-days. And he'd be out there on the football field running with his pads on between the practices.
That boy running that stuff out of him. Shout out to Michael Irvin, man. He said David Irving had a good game against the Green Bay. Yeah, if my memory served me correct, did he force 2 fumbles? Because I know he forced a fumble when he was driving into the red zone, and then a whole other things happened. Shout out to David Irving. He got a hell of a business thing going now with, as you all know, of what his demons were with the NFL.
Smoke weed every day.
He got a whole business centered around that, and I truly believe that he was going to win that lawsuit. So that's why they dropped the lawsuit, gave him some cash money, and they told him, hey, we'll reinsert you into the NFL. Because he was going to win. Plants over pill. And he was going to win. He was going to win that legal lawsuit, Yes, 2 fumbles. Appreciate y'all. So defense do win championships, but you got to figure out how to combat and complement your offense, right? Like you run the ball, which will eat up clock, control the time of possession, and then your defense will be fresher to make plays, right? But it is what it is. Let's go.
And the night before, he had probably been out most of the night.
Working, obviously, right?
Sure.
Well, my point is, living it to its nth degree, living life, competitive. I don't so much want to use that word there. Just getting the most out of it.
Get the most out of him.
Getting the absolute most out of it. The most out of his relationships on the team. Gouging, pushing people to get better.
We're talking.
Harper was our other receiver, and boy, Harper should frankly have given Mike a cut of his check, because Mike really helped Harper be the player he was.
Right.
Talk with Jerry
Alvin
Jones
Harper.
right here on
Alvin
105.3
Harper is
The
who we're
Fan.
talking about.
I got to know, and I know we'll circle back into the Cowboys, but I was really curious. The World Cup is about to start, and then the 2026 World Cup is going to be around these parts. How confident? She's running 3 shows here?
I mean, you might be right,
Maybe
but I
right.
don't know.
But like the prices that I saw to
Oh man, Super
Positive.
Bowl.
Skip past it. So that was Jerry Jones, and let me get to this other part of it. I don't have the audio of it because it haven't synced in yet. But one of the things that Jerry Jones had to say about Sue is that the Cowboys never had interest in signing veteran defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh. Jerry Jones said on 105.3 The Fan, no, we didn't have any contacts with him. I like where we are with our guys, or our big boys down in the middle. So I'm going to say this, and I want you guys to lean on the words that I'm saying. Okay? No, I truly believe that the Cowboys, and hear me out, they love their own guys. But I truly believe that for right now, Sue would have been a feel-good situation. And I don't truly believe that he would help out against the run. 2 things can be true, right? And I can be 1,000% wrong. I believe that the Cowboys, if they wanted to hush up this run stuff, then they would have or should have done it before now. They should have done it during the offseason. You do not get to these levels of run fits by mistakes. These are hardcore principles. These are philosophies and things of that nature of the reason why the Cowboys are where they at right now. If the Cowboys wanted to shut down the run, they should have been looking last season, right? And then they should have been preparing themselves this offseason. The Cowboys went into this season, technically, with the same team on the defensive side from last year, minus a KZ and Randy Gregory, right? Those are the only 2. Everything else is pretty much the same. We brought in a Fowler who wasn't considered a stud on stopping the run, and we read up Dorrance Armstrong. It's the same team. Now, I know for sure when I look at football and I can identify hook to flat, filling in the gaps or what have you, I can clearly see that our linebackers are hesitant. And of course, we brought in Anthony Barr after we banged on the table, and he was the last results. Whereas a third of even the Viking people were saying that he was a shell of himself. He's no longer the Anthony Barr that you think that you're going to get, right? And I truly look at Anthony Barr, shout out to him. I love his wisdom and understanding of the game, but I look at Anthony Barr as a bridge guy. I do. So if the Cowboys wanted, I would have felt better about this whole situation if the Cowboys were saying to us, hey, man, we would like to bring in Sue during the offseason, right? And then put him on this team so that he can either help Osa, help Gallimore, or at the time help Tristan Hill. That's how I look at it. But for right now, it is a, hey, all right, let's hurry up. Let's get, like if you knock a hole in the wall, right? You get some mud, you get some plaster, you kind of scrape it together, mix it around, maybe get some balled up stuff, and you put it inside the wall, and it's just sheetrock covering, right? Sheetrock mud. But that wall gonna always be weak there, right? And I get it. A lot of people, we looking at what the Eagles are doing, right? Lavelle, Joseph, the man, you talking about a long tooth. They done got 2 longer tooths over there, or teeth. They got 2 long teeth. He's 33 years of age, right? Lavelle Joseph, 33. That's a long tooth, right? And then my guy So, he's a long tooth. So you inserting both of those guys in at the same time. Hey, shout out to them. Much love to them. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. But 9 times out of 10, hey, it is what it is. Oh, he's 34 now. Okay. Lavelle Joseph is 34, and they got a 35-year-old guy, Sue. There's only so much that those guys can do. So it is what it is. But the Cowboys, yes, we got our own situations and problems here, as I pull this up bigger so that you guys can see that, right? This is not by chance, ladies and gentlemen. 200 yards is a lot. Team's not even looking to pass. They said, okay, we're going to run it. Discipline. But what people think what I'm saying is about the Cowboys doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, is they do a lot of panic buy, rush buy, hurry buy, emotional buys. They don't win you games, baby, when you get to the bigger tournament, But somebody hit me up with a beautiful, and I mean just that, a beautiful analogy. They was like, no, beautiful truth. They said, Lord, this haven't changed since 2019. I said, or 2018 when we went to the playoffs. 2018 when we went to the playoffs and C.J. Anderson. But I can tell you, our guys up front is a whole lot better now, though. But the principles of the mindset haven't changed. We got to stop this run at all costs. Stop the run. Darryl Davis says we can't win with our roster. I think we can. And if we're going to make it a shootout, then we got to be hitting on all cylinders with our offense. Speaking of that, let me see if I can find the right clips for this one with Mike McCarthy.
And so forth, but he's bigger, stronger, and just in his competitive nature is extremely high. So, we were very high on Justin.
Mike McCarthy here with Sean and RJ every Friday, 105.3 The Fan. Last matchup, Diggs held him down. How do you see those two matching up, Coach? Why may Jefferson be a nice matchup for Trayvon based upon the great performance Diggs had last year?
Y'all knock on some wood.
I mean, I think it's like anything. I mean, Trayvon, you could see last week that there wasn't one ball thrown his way. So when you I know Aaron had great respect for him, and you're seeing it more and more. People keep talking about him. His numbers are down, but frankly they're up because he's not. People are going away from him. So that counts for something too from a value standpoint. But yeah, I think
some wood,
Trayvon's ability to go inside and outside, because you have to be able to do that to play Justin, because they play him all over the place. So, but I think they're a good matchup because they both have length, great athletes, and both have exceptional ball skills.
What's the biggest difference you've seen in a positive way in Trayvon's game from last year, Coach? Obviously, he was one of the top topics of the league, and now it feels like he's even better. How?
Well, I just think you're seeing that a young player that's still ascending. I mean, this is year 3 for him. I mean, he's
there. You go, Coach.
Obviously had a good a nice rookie season. Definitely has had the huge year last year with the interceptions. But I just think his game is so much more well-rounded. Anticipation and his recognition. He's just going to keep building up that bank account of video, awareness, instincts, all those things that come with these great athletes. The longer they're in this thing, that the smarter and more recognition that they have. And so I just think you're watching Trayvon climb the ladder in that area.
Coach.
All right, they got the super chat. Appreciate you, Chris214, for the first super chat. And I thank everybody that's on the Facebook with the stars.
Dracarys.
Thank y'all for pressing that star button over there on the Facebook. And I really appreciate you. Curtis Roach, appreciate you. Lopez, thank you over there on the Facebook. Who else over here on the Facebook? DeKobe, appreciate you, Taylor. And Lovey Browns, VIP, appreciate you, man. Brandon, appreciate you, and as well as Darryl Anders. All right, so the super chat says, is Antonio Callaway or Cole Beasley slot guy? I hope that he is. For those who looking back at the offense, I really like Cole Beasley in this offense when he was here. I didn't want Cole Beasley to go, by the way. I really like, what's the other kid? Randall Cobb. I liked Randall Cobb in this offense. I was distraught that he went away after 2019. I wanted him to be in this offense for a second year. And then he was like, oh, Mike McCarthy coming? Doses. He went off to Texans and disappeared. Right? And they felt sorry for him, and then he went off to Green Bay, and he's been there ever since. But Randall Cobb, he's a nuanced guy, route. I love his ability to catch in between the traffics, and he's a very cerebral guy. And the reason why I like that out of Randall Cobb, Cole Beasley, as well as even Cedric Wilson, all of those guys, they played at some form or fashion. I think Cole Beasley played, but I know Randall Cobb and as well as Cedric Wilson, they played quarterback in high school. And that they get a better feel of the game, right? They can find that soft spot in the zone, and they can sink in there and catch the ball. Cole Beasley was wonderful for us in the years that he played in Cowboys land. Now, back over to Antonio Callaway. If you look up his tape and you look at his college career and his rookie year, you'll say to yourself, man, this is a solid dude. Now, he just got
Smoke weed every day.
which is legal now. Well, you know, which is you can do that now in the NFL, right? And I think that, you know, he had the Josh Gordon treatment over there in Browns land, and somebody said the Browns are like the Siberia of the NFL. It's hard for you to get any recognition, any name out there for a long stay. It's just crazy how they are so up and down. So he ended up falling off the map. His second year, they had quarterback issues. Quarterback was injured. Quarterback was not injured. Then his third season, he went to the Dolphins. And I would tell anybody, 2019 to that 2020 year, it's a cuss word, right? 2020 is a cuss word, right? And y'all already know the reason why I say those things if you follow the channel. So if Antonio Callaway can stay clean, not far as from the other stuff, but clean as it relates to health reasons, right? No hammies, no pulls of the calf muscles or things like that, and he can get out there and showcase his talent, then the Cowboys got them a steal. I know it's a long way, but he could be that quote-unquote Cole Beasley type of wide receiver. Cole was solid. Yeah, you're right, Small. Appreciate you. Losing to Green Bay cost this team the division. This is from Troy Dudley. Well, it's not over with yet, Troy. It got a long way to go. Because the good thing about us, we got to play the Giants, so we already got one up over the Giants. We got to play the Washington team twice, right? And we don't know what variations of Washington that we're going to get. But I'll take my chances, right? I would take my chances with the Washington team, especially what we did to them last season. I don't think that they added anything extra. The only thing that we're missing is a dynamic other wide receiver, but that's a story of another day, right? Hopefully, we will have that same momentum as we had last season. And if I know anything, we talk bad about good old Kellen Moore, but Kellen Moore and Dak when they play against teams in the NFC East, y'all better just look out. Those boys are on the same page. Those two, they just know. Like sometimes you just know your opposition, you know your opponent, and that's one game that I know for sure. Kellen Moore gonna be up and ready for it, right? It's still wide open, BD Gray. Yeah, he said Philly lost so they lost the divisional game, and our only loss to the divisional game is the Eagles. So if we can sweep everybody else out, right, and then on Christmas Day or what have you, we play the Eagles and hand them that L, shoot, boy, we right into it. But for right now, it just looked like we are out of it, right? It just looked like when we look at all of this, we don't have a chance. Hold on, standings. Here we go. It looks like from here, from this perspective, we're not even in the picture. But these games got a long way to go. Got a long way to go. Let's go. It's wide open still.
Coach, people were having early debates about your defense being great.
Oh, yeah, we beat Washington early. Oh, see, my bad. So we just play Washington one more time. We in there, right? Right? I keep forgetting we beat Washington earlier. So, yeah. So all we got to do, that's how far apart. Who haven't we played everybody in the division already, right? So it's all good.
And a lead.
Wait a minute. You got me messed up. Did we play Washington already? Let me pull up my schedule. Appreciate you, Robert. What was the final score? What was the score against Washington? What was the score? Y'all help me out. What was that final score? We beat him. We beat him because my guy Louis T. 25-10. So yeah, man. So shoot, when we play Washington again, it's gonna be over. It's over. Couldn't run the rock in that game, right? So, and we beat them, So we beat Washington, we beat the Giants, we just didn't beat the Eagles, right? So I'm quite sure that the Eagles right now, they're looking at it like, hey, in a few weeks, on Christmas Day, instead of us looking embarrassed, let's go pick up Joseph. Let's go pick up Sue. It could be. Appreciate y'all so much, man. Look, beat them so bad I forgot about it. Put it like this. It could be that they was looking down the schedule and said, shoot, we don't want the Dallas Cowboys. That's what it was. That is what it was. The Washington team gave the blueprint to the Eagles, on how to beat them. And the Eagles were like, man, shoot, we don't want to be embarrassed when we go play the Cowboys down there in Dallas. Shoot, let's go ahead and pick up Sue now, Man, they was on 1-800 pick up a defensive tackle because they knew for sure that if the Washington team was able to put up that many points, what you think Dak and company is going to do when they come rolling up on Christmas? So that's why they went and got those dudes. Look, we are in good shape. That's why I was angry and upset. Don't y'all know how much stuff I'd have been talking right about now if we was 8-2? Shoot. And we beat Green Bay, boy. Shoot. Let's listen to more of this.
Special. Does it feel like the defense has been regressing a little bit as of late?
Well, it's just like anything. We sit around here and you look at week in and week out, with the strengths and weaknesses. I mean, you have to have a place to attack every defense, and really the complement of an exceptional defense is you got to run right at them because you're reducing the time clock for the play. It stresses their ability and really keeps them out of what all great defenses have to have, and that's the ability to get after the quarterback. I mean, we don't talk about great defenses in today's game that can't go rush the passer. So this is the way you neutralize excellent defense is running the ball right at them. And right now we're seeing a ton of wide zone, which tells us we got to be better at setting our edges and so forth. And the lead run Minnesota, no matter who they play, they're going to run wide zone. That's their offense. So so the ability to toss cracks, jet sweeps, the wide zones, and then obviously the misdirection that comes off of that. So we got to get back and we got to knock them back. You know, we got to get knocked back inside. We got to get these edges set.
All right, so talk is cheap, man. You know, silence is gold, or talk is silver and silence is gold, right? And I feel what Coach is saying is, hey, you got to do this, got to do that, and we just got to implement what Coach is saying doing. You know, it's one thing to say it, but you got to do it. Let's go.
His cleats in the ground as far as being ready to.
Let me see if I fast forward right.
Just
here.
like anything, you got to make sure that your the technique at the top of the route is critical, because you can't telegraph the option route, because now you're giving the ability to the defender to
Let me get right here.
to spend that a route adjustment that
so difficult to execute. Week we like to get a football education from you when it comes to a point of discussion, and this week it's the option route
pay attention
based
to
upon
this.
the Packer game. Can you just explain to us, Coach, as simply as you can, the complexity of option routes, why they're so difficult to stop, and why they're so difficult to execute?
Now, before he go, we're going to talk about this option thing. Let me let y'all get your seats together. We're going to open up the phone lines in a few, Spock. But I think that right now it's a party line. If y'all call that hotline, you can grab your places. It'll just be open to the community that's there, right? So just feel free. We're going to open up the phone lines. Give me 1 second. Let me put the phone number up top while we talk about these. The phone numbers is up top right above my head. It's a party line now, so you guys can jump in there. Here's what I got to say. When you have the option route, it is beautiful. It's wonderful when it works. But man, when it don't work and you go right when you're supposed to go left, it's going to make your quarterback look like a fool. And you got to be on the same page as the quarterback. You got to be in sync with the quarterback. And when you look at it like this, Cowboy Nation, we don't have the for one, the fan base or the backing of the quarterback. So if Lamb runs a dig when he's supposed to run a post, or when Lamb run a post when he's supposed to run a dig, they're going to first chew up the quarterback, right? That's what everybody see. The INT is picked off to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. It's in, right? Or they're going to be mad when everything is uncovered. They say, hey, man, they're going to be mad at Lamb. Hey, man, he didn't go up and get that one because he's processing the information. Now, two things can be true. It can hurt us now, but it can be beneficial to us later if these guys can use these growing pains to get to it, to be on the same page. Right now, we want to win every game because of the where we at right now. But, baby, if this team, if CeeDee Lamb, if Dak Prescott, and if all of this stuff works to the point, to this highest peak possible, they'll be back to being the number one offense and moving the chains and taking over a complete control of a team. But the problem is we don't have that patience. It's been 27 years. We just saying, hey, just run a route. Don't run an option route. If it's a bang 8, let me see it. If it's a 9 route, let me see it. Flag route, let me see it, right? Drag underneath, let me see it. Tunnel screen. Look, none of this, all of this fancy dancy stuff.
Well, it's just like anything in football. You're tying every route, in an offensive play, but you're tying every route to the quarterback's feet. And the option route is the exception because, the quarterback is the decision maker where the ball goes. And, when you have, a route adjustment that just has, one option at the breaking point of the route. So, but the option route gives you the ability to, it gives you 3 options. You can hook it up, you can break it to the left, you can break it to the right. So, based on the defense and how they defend that, they're going to play with some form of leverage to play to their help of the rest of the coverage unit. So, the ability to break away from that leverage, is an excellent advantage for the offensive player on option routes. So, but just like anything, you got to make sure that the technique at the top of the route is critical, because you can't telegraph the option route, because now you're giving the ability to the defender to really settle and get your hip pocket. So, and you got horizontal option routes, which is I think the one you're referring to, and then you do have vertical option routes too. So it's a route that takes more timing, because you can see the quarterback, his feet have to be really in position with his cleats in the ground as far as being ready to have the weight distributed to throw the ball, still with some anticipation, and it's really the body language of the route runner is critical.
It's very critical, where shoulder lean and then jab step. There's going to be a lot to process, and then you got if you don't have time in there, it's going to look like you throwing ducks out there. Paul says, let's just run the ball down the Vikings' throat with Zeke and Pollard. You know what?
Dracarys.
You know what? Yeah, and the craziest thing of it all, man, about 6 weeks ago, I believe, Mike McCarthy came out and said he can't stand option routes, right? It is literally the opposite of what West Coast offense is all about, right? And he's from the West Coast tree, right? West Coast offense tree. Bill Walsh and all of those boys, right? So, and if you look at Joe Montana and all of those guys in their system, it wasn't one. Let's see where you go with the ball. No, it was 1, 2, 3, 3 steps, drops, 5 steps, ball out, right? So West Coast had a lot of plays that's short and compressed, right? Compressed and designed to get the ball out real quick, shy underneath, right? And every now and then their verticals was slow goals, right? Slow goals, maybe some of your posts when you got to sit to the top and you see the receiver pivot and then break out of it, but it wasn't options. Because you ain't trying to play around with your food. Now, the system that Mike McCarthy is talking about is the system of the old school system of Jim Kelly's of the world. I want to say it's just vertical. This is a vertical spread offense where you spread it out. You got guys that's running some stick routes or what have you. And it's a lot. You got to have some help up front. And you attacking the defense, but sometimes in zone, the hole got to open up. If they compress, then you don't know where they're sitting at in their zone. So it's up to your wide receiver to sell the out. It's up to your wide receiver to sell like the slant or the go. So it's a lot of stuff that's involved with it. So that's why I agree with my guy Paul. Man, just run the doggone ball. Just run it, man. Just run the ball, man. Just run it. K-Gun, appreciate you. And that's just what it is.
Critical, because he's got to be able to talk to the quarterback, with his body language.
Wow.
Yeah. And he says, Akeem says, Law, this is why you have to practice. Yep. But you can practice all day, but how a defender play that, he may sit on a certain route. He may show leverage a different way. And if you're not practicing against said player defense and you practice against your own defense, you're talking about certain teams you shouldn't just do that on, right? And all players on this team shouldn't have the ability to run option routes. I think that, in the past, we know what type of routes my guy Dez Bryant was going to run, right? Post, bang eight, slant. Those were his three. Hey, post, maybe a flag here and there. You rarely seen Dez on a drag, right? Unless it was the deep drag. But that's just how it goes, man. I'm going to run routes according to what strength my wide receiver is, and Dez was an X wide receiver, right? Boundary, field side, right? he's going to get the ball 9 times out of 10, and he's going to work within the confines of that area. They didn't line Dez up into the slot, right? And he would have been hellish in the slot too, don't get it twisted. But they lined him up to his strength. They had slot guy, Beasley, slot guy, But we'll see how all of this trickulates down the line. Sometimes too many options could be bad for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a good explanation, and fans watch the game and they see an interception, it's like, oh, it's the quarterback's fault.
Yeah,
and that's not always the case. But how often, do quarterback and receivers see the coverage differently, and how common is that?
That's a great question. That's a question of the year. I get some applause there. No, that was excellent. No, that's exactly that's the challenge of the route, and that's why. And if you go back through the history of offensive systems in the NFL, you have your two main ones that have been in this league for decades. You had the West Coast offense versus the digit system, and the West Coast offense, you never ran option routes. You never ever took the decision making out of the quarterback's hands. Everything.
There we go, baby. Boy. I wish I'd have heard. If I would have heard that part earlier, I would have been even more enthused with it. So that is deep conversation. Shout out to my guy.
It was dictated on the quarterback knowing exactly, where the route was going to break. The precision and timing of the route running and the quarterback's footwork were going to be better than any coverage. And then you got the digit system, which has a more vertical component to it, but also had the option routes in it. So. I think in today's game, you see
mixtures.
Most offenses are more scheme driven. They're more play driven. That's just the way this league's gone. But I'm still very systematic in the offensive approach. So I think you have to have both the West Coast principles and the digit system.
Mike, so you got to have a little bit of both. But he's saying it's more scheme. You the coach. You the coach. I mean, who's coaching this team, you or Kellen Moore? And that's my thing is he's telling on himself. He come out about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago saying he don't like option routes. And now he's literally spent about 7 minutes to 8 minutes talking about option routes, right? And then he told everybody, hey, I'm more of a West Coast system, right? And we don't see no West Coast system in there. I truly believe in a West Coast system, Dak Prescott would flourish better. You take away all of the reading, you'll know where his principle is systematic, and he will be right into the system that would benefit him the best. Vertical offense, people that flourish well in verts are the systems that, and this this goes all the way back to the kind of caliber of coach that you got. Scott Linehan, for those who didn't know, he was on the team with Randy Moss, right? They ran a vertical offense. He was on the team with Megatron, Matthew Stafford, who had their strong big arm. They ran a vertical offense. Oh, excuse me. When Tony Romo was here, of course, Scott Linehan, what did they ran? They ran the digit system, if you want to say it, or the vertical offense, right? And to me, what I've seen out of Dak Prescott, I like Dak Prescott. I'm not putting him under the bus, but I think that those short to intermediate passes and occasionally hit him with the long ones would work better for him. West Coast. And that's just how I look at it from here. Even when you look at what the Tom Brady systems were, what he ran, it was more of the West Coast philosophy, right? And one can argue if you compile like the Super Bowls that were won, you will see that more of the West Coast philosophy and principles got most of the rings. I could start off by saying, what Tom got 7? Joe got 4. So, shoot, we can start going down line by line, precept upon precept, right, to see who got the most rings out of all of this. Donald Buss says the Vikings 29th ranking on pass defense, right? Oh, wow. I didn't know that they were that deep down there on pass defense. Yeah. Guess who were the 27th ranked on rush defense last game? Oh, my goodness. It was the Green Bay Packers, So we'll find out, man. Speaking of that, let's listen to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in my opinion.
And they just failed to make the plays. And then when you put it all together collectively, then you say, oh, man, what's the problem? If they had made one of those plays and won the game, the storyline would be totally different. But I thought Green Bay played it the way that they had to play it to win the game, and then they made the plays they had.
Do y'all know who that is? Do y'all know their voice? Let me know in the chat.
They had to make in order to be able to pull that off. And it worked really well for them. But no, I think Dallas can definitely fix some of the things that have maybe given them some problems recently.
Stopping the run is more important this year than it's been in a long time. Through Week 10, NFL teams are averaging 122 yards rushing per game. That's the highest figure since 1987. They're averaging 4.5 yards per carry. That's the highest rate ever. What do you think has led to this resurgence in the running game?
Since 1987. That's what, 35 years ago. Man, come on, man. Y'all, we got to get better. Come on, let's listen.
You know, it's a really good question. I've talked to people about it, and I've heard some other people's opinions on why it is. And I think there's a lot of different reasons for it. I think for some teams, it's the way that they have to play because they're not as good up front. They're not as good at quarterback, whatever it might be. That's the style that they have to play. I think others have seen what maybe San Francisco's been able to do, running the ball, and the way that Baltimore has been able to do the things that they've done, and they figure that, hey, that works. And then also, it feels like whatever extreme we took with the passing game, and it took a period of time to get to where we got to with the passing game with some of the rules that were being implemented, and then the influences of the college game that got teams more and more to the spread formations. But passing obviously became very prevalent over the last decade in the NFL. And then as defenses started figuring out, okay, well, how do we take care of that? I think you've seen linebackers. I see it each week. There's linebackers that are about my size or even smaller that are playing, in the middle there, and it's you would never see that before. So defenses are going more to smaller guys that are faster, that can play in space, and then offensive coaches are adjusting to that, saying, okay, well then we'll run the ball at the various looks that we're getting, and so it's kind of gone back the other way, but.
So, in other words, size matter, and I said that the other day when I look back at most of the tape, we so light body, and lining up three safeties is good against the pass there. We got guys that can get to the areas, bat the ball down, got dexterity, they can knock the ball out of the sky. But, when teams say, all right, cool, you got three safeties out there, and you got light other linebackers, and you got a linebacker that's going to sit there, and I think the world of LVE, right? And he just sitting there watching. And then he's slow to react. And then he try to get in there, and he get washed up out of there. So you got that light version. You got light interior guys. What you expect what's going to happen out there? So, yeah, it was a call for a cry for help when we got Big Jonathan Hankins. But one of the things that stabbed us in the back is when we got rid of Big John Ridgeway. We got rid of John Ridgeway.
Shame.
You need big bodies down inside, right? And you got a lot of finesse guys who I truly believe that the Cowboys, if the Cowboys really look at this and say the best recipe of helping us stopping the run would be, one, the efficiency level on offense, right? Play keep away. Two, when I talk about efficiency level, meaning that you got to score. And what the Green Bay Packers did, they refused to be unstubborn, right? They're stubborn to say, hey, we down. Our quarterback is down this year. He's getting paid $50 million to close to $55 million a year, and we can't throw this thing. No, but we can run it. And the Cowboys foolish enough to have 3 safeties out there, and we got a guy by the name of A.J. Dillon. Oh, we got a guy that even if they doing a toss play, the doggone Green Bay Packers, even last night, toss left, toss right? They were still getting massive and chunks of yards from Aaron Jones, right? But they finally gobbled that stuff up because they didn't say, okay, let's continue to keep 3 safeties out there. No, they got some big boys out there. So when that guard, when he pull, you hit him right in his mouth. Pull, you hit him right in his mouth. Cowboys just don't continue to do that with their shoot. My guy J-Ron Kurt's gonna make a business decision after a few runs, right? Shoot, he 205, man. You 210, 6'4". Shoot, it's cold out there, man. He gonna start making those business decisions, man. Shoot, our DB's gonna start making the business decision. I'm not pointing at my dudes though, but they good against the pass. Shoot. And then don't that makes football such a weird one that history repeats itself? It's like, okay, we just going to go back to the old school ways, right? We're going to pull our tackle or pull our guard that's 330 pounds, and if you are a nickel back or if you're a defensive back that's by 205, 206, you may get us a few times, but over a period of time, you're going to get tired.
I was looking yesterday, the game that we have this week, and there's teams that are running the ball that this year it would say that, like, I see a team that's running the ball for 4.5 yards a carry, and you say, wow, that's good. I mean, that's always been good to me if an offense is averaging that, and then this year it's ranked in the bottom third, whereas 5 years ago that would have been in the top 10. So it really points out just how much the game has changed this year relative to others in the running game, like you said.
And because of that, a game like Dak plays on Sunday where he throws it 46 times, sometimes you come out of that thinking, why'd you throw it 46 times? And you've shown that you can run the ball even without Zeke. Why did you do that? Do some teams... And let's just take Dallas to Sunday. Why did they throw it 46 times?
All right, that's good. That's a good question. I can't wait for Troy to answer. Hey, guys, man, Joseph Collin, look. Don't block the man for saying that. He is not saying anything disrespectful. He says Cowboys won't win anything until they draft the premier quarterback talent in the first round. They have not drafted a quarterback in the first round since 1989. Happy feet Dak is not the answer. That's not block worthy. You know, that's just his thoughts and his opinion. At this channel, I'll allow people to speak their minds. Now, if he's been disrespectful, then so be it. You know, you can block him, kick him up out of here. But mods, please don't block the man for saying that. You know, because I want people like Joseph have a right, you know, to be as brash as he want, right? But in the same breath, just hit him back with the truth. Like, how many first-round talent quarterbacks won Super Bowls? Or what are the odds of first-round talent winning the Super Bowl without putting weapons around them? And I'm just saying this, I'm not picking on none of my mods, but let's not block the man for that opinion. I think that, you know, everyone have their own opinion, and that's just his thoughts of it. But I know he's a hater, but, hey, man, don't block the man. He got blocked, you know, so he's still wrong. Just fight the man with the words, man, in the chat. And until he says something out of line, then you can block the man. But don't block them. Don't block the man for saying that. You know, I get it, right? We're gonna have our detractors, and we're gonna have people that will point it and make it the reason why we are losing is because because of Dak, right? Or we're going to point it out, make it a reason why we are losing or winning because of X, Y, and Z. But don't block that, man. Don't block. Let him speak. Let him speak his mind. Come on, man. Let him speak his mind. And tell him to call in. Tell him to call into the show.
And with a 14-point lead in the fourth.
Yeah.
I can't answer that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I ever threw the ball 46 times in a win, and if I did, it was because we were way down in the fourth, and that's the way we had to play in order to come back and win. But to have that kind of lead with the way that they were able to run the ball, I would agree with that. I think sometimes, and we've talked about it before. I think a lot of offensive coaches come into the game and they have their belief on what they want to do, and they do it. And sometimes they don't always look at exactly how the game's going or how you finish it off. But like I said, watching that game, I think there were a lot of moments that even the fourth down call, I guess, in overtime, as I'm watching that game, you start asking yourself, and I haven't heard Mike. I haven't heard him say. Maybe he did, but I missed it if he did. Is
come on, Troy.
What was the reasoning then for going for it? I don't disagree with him going for it. I just wanted to hear why it was that he did. Was it because he just felt like he really liked the 4th and 4 call? Did he feel that that if they gave the ball to Aaron Rodgers, they wouldn't be able to stop him? Or was it the other way? Did he feel that the defense would make a stand? I mean, I don't know what all went into that philosophy or that decision, but I think someone told me he said that he knew on second down that he was going to go for it on fourth down.
Yeah,
and then and I get it, on third down you typically would throw it in that situation, but if you thought that, would you not run it twice?
Yeah, Troy, baby. I know I wasn't crazy. Troy, I know I wasn't crazy. I thought I was crazy. I was second-guessing myself when somebody said, you know what, Law, Mike McCarthy on second down, if he knew that he was going to make it a 4-down territory, it's okay for them to be reckless and throw it on second, throw it on third, and throw it on fourth. Come on, baby. So now that if I know me and Troy are thinking on the same page, man, I'm okay with my life now. I was second guessing my life for a second. I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong on so many levels. But Troy Aikman, let's give a round of applause to Troy Aikman because he's trying to be objective with his analysis here. So, yeah. And I truly believe by watching Green Bay last night, right? Even if the Cowboys look back at themselves and say, you know what, it's overtime. I get it. It's 4th and 4 right now. Let's see if we can do a hard count. Hard count. And if they don't jump over, right, that I'm ultimately going to put it back on this defense for them giving up all of those rush yards. And I'm going to look at Dan Quinn. I'm going to look at Durday. I'm going to look at Joe Witt Jr. and Al Harris. And I'm going to look at the special team coach. And I'll tell them, Brian Anger, if you can punt the ball, coffin corner that thing, this defense will hold the Green Bay Packers down for one more time. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going for it on 4th and 4. Because at least if you give a hard count, if the 4th and 4, right? It's 4 yards. 5 yards equals first down, right? And if you don't get it, then you punt it, you coffin corner that thing, and you say defense. We had this team up 28-14. At some point. Let's ride. You know what I'm saying? It's on you now. Let's see if you can close out this game. Maybe it would have been another strip sack fumble. Maybe it would have been a safety. Maybe, who knows?
So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it, and then when you lose a game, everything gets dissected, obviously a lot more.
And as you know, it seems in these parts to always come back to the Cowboys quarterback, and Dak is under the microscope. He's only played 4 games this year, but he's performing below his career averages in just about every category. What have you seen out of Dak so far?
Well, I haven't studied him that closely. Sadly, we won't have Dallas again. So I watch the games. I don't go back and watch the coaches' tape on the Cowboys and really break them down. But I think that some of what has impacted Dak is probably why they were wanting to try to find a receiver at the trade deadline. I just think that in the past he's had probably a little bit more depth at that position. He doesn't this year. And, of course, he missed that time. And then coming back off of that, I think early on when he came back, the style had changed a little bit. But I think that this last game, a couple tough interceptions down there. And whenever you have that, then things are going to not look so good on ratings and all that goes into that when you start evaluating quarterbacks. But those turnovers obviously were costly for them.
It's our weekly visit with Cowboys Hall of Famer Troy Aikman.
All right, so I heard a little bit. I had to turn the volume up real high so I can hear it while I was preparing my coffee. He mentioned something about the wide receiver and how that would help out and help alleviate some of the pain or what have you. But when you look back at it and listening in to Mike McCarthy and what he had to say about option routes and things like that, it's a situation. There's trust. You got to trust the wide receivers that you got. And do we have enough to win games down the stretch? We do, but we'll be foolish to think that we don't, need to increase in that area. Now, right now, the same issues that I have with this defense is the same issues that I have with this offense as it relates to wide receiver. I think at the start of the season, I asked you guys, where's our biggest problem at on offense and defense? And I think we had got a tally. Most of the people said linebacker on defense and defensive front, right? Some people threw in the defensive backs, but for what it's worth, Anthony Brown is just Anthony Brown at this point. And so far, how it goes, I think he's not going to be playing in this game due to the concussion. I think that the Cowboys at least address most of the things outside of wide receiver. We don't have any issues no more with the offensive line, in my opinion. I think that that's shored up primarily because of Tyler Smith been playing phenomenal for a rookie, right? And I hear stories that they may kick him back at guard and have Jason Peters as the tackle. We'll find out. Trust the process, Trey. I appreciate you, and happy birthday again to you. So we'll find out. But as far as the wide receivers, I think that now it may not be a big issue. It's just a reservation now. We have a slight reservations on the wide receiver. We don't know whether or not Gallup is going to be the same Gallup from week to week. Noah Brown, he's battling with foot injuries. He had a neck issue, so that's a cause to pause. Jalen Tolbert, we was high on the young kid, and now we're seeing that the young kid may have a lot of issues as it relates to upstairs, right? And CeeDee Lamb, we can see with our natural eyes that he's still got to go through some more growing pains. I get it, third year, but this system is a whole lot different than any other system because we got also an offensive coordinator going through growing pains who's trying to, in his fourth year ever calling plays, who's trying to insert the option routes with his skill sets and his doggone game plans, So it is what it is.
Been here on the ticket. We have a common friend, Troy, and a guy named Bob.
Hey, you says free Simi. I think Simi, this is his last season, man. Unless he pull a rabbit out of the hat, he's been battling through some injuries and things like that. Look, it's one of those things, man.
Bob Sturm, who grew up a Packers fan, and as we talk about the quarterback on the other side, like when Bob first got to town, we used to play NFL Blitz. I was Troy Aikman in the Cowboys. He was Brett Favre in the Packers, if that tells you anything about Bob.
It tells me all I need to know about Bob. But
yeah,
I already knew all I needed to know about Bob. But the good thing is if you were me and he was Brett, then you won a lot of games.
I kind of did, but unfortunately it came down to my video game ability, which was not very good. So Bob did win a few of them. But obviously he's been a big Packers fan and Aaron Rodgers fan, and one of the things that has bothered him has been his demeanor. Do we make too much? Because I get into that too sometimes with quarterbacks. He doesn't look like he's having fun. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem like he's having fun. Even
let me see if I can fast forward through all of this, man. I don't want to hear no more about Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to see if he's going to talk about the Vikings in the upcoming game. Hold on. Because I like Troy analysis on these type of things.
I understand it. I think we've seen the same thing from Tom Brady. Now they've started winning some games here the last couple of weeks, but there was a stretch there when they were losing. People think because they see Justin Jefferson making these plays.
Okay, let me go back a little bit.
They just throw it with them. I think that, yeah.
You and Joe have had Minnesota this year.
Yeah,
in fact, it was
Minnesota
their only
talk
loss,
a little
that
bit.
game against Philadelphia. They've won 7 in a row since. What kind of team do the Cowboys get this week? Are you fully buying into their hot start?
Well, yeah. I did see them week 2. They didn't play well at all. I was expecting them to play a lot better than they did in that game. Defensively, they weren't what I thought. I don't know that a lot has changed with them. I think that we see the numbers that Justin Jefferson puts up, and he's amazing. As we know, he's pretty terrific. And what a pick that was for them. And I've always loved Adam Thielen. But we've gotten first of all, they're not this running team that they had been under Mike Zimmer. They just don't commit to the run that way. They're really a passing team. They run they run the ball decent when they do, and they probably don't throw the ball as well as a lot of people think because they see Justin Jefferson making these plays, but they just throw it a lot. So their yardage ranks fairly high for them. I think their formula for winning has been I don't want to say like Dallas's, but they're similar to Dallas in the turnovers and the takeaways. They do a pretty good job of protecting the ball.
Yeah.
And then they do a good job on defense of taking the ball away, and that's really how they've scored their points, and it's how they've kept teams from scoring.
I know for sure that safety got 4 INTs. Xavier Woods, I think he's been dinged up or what have you. He got 2 INTs for the season. And Patrick Peterson got 3 INTs. So they got some guys that can get the ball back to the offense. So we got to be mindful of that. So let's see what else he have to say.
And the probably the best thing for Minnesota is that they win the close games. They've won the close games all year, and that's the key. This idea that, and I hear it a lot when a team's struggling, and they say, they've played 8 games by 1 possession games, or whatever the number is, but. Yeah, so has every other team. And then do you win most of those games? And if you do, you're going to have a pretty good season. And if you don't, then you're not. And the Vikings, they won all of them. So and then what happens then is like what we saw against Buffalo last week is they get in those positions and they feel that they're going to find a way to win a game. And if you believe in that or not, I do. That if you're confident that you're going to find a way somehow, some way to win the game. More times than not, you do, and they've done it every time. So, if it's a close game, Dallas will have their hands full because Dallas has not always won those games, and Minnesota has.
Boy, what an insane ending to that one! Your buddy Daryl Johnston got the call on that and said at the end he'd never seen anything like it. I don't think we had either. We had the question when Buffalo fumbled after they had made the goal line stand, and it was a fumble on a quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
The question, how does that happen?
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty easy, let's just snap it and get an inch and we win the game. I guess it's another thing, though, if you're trying to move 900 pounds of mass to get out of your own end zone.
Well, I will tell you that taking a snap from center in that situation or in a short yardage, 3rd or 4th and 1 is far different than taking a snap from underneath center in any other situation in the game because the defensive linemen are hitting it harder. The offensive line, especially with them being backed up and not wanting to give up any ground, the center comes. They all do, but the center is the only one the quarterback's concerned with. Is that he comes firing off the ball, and if you don't follow him as he's moving, because the quarterback.
Ain't nobody said Josh Allen choked, though. You know what I'm saying? That's the craziest thing. Nobody said, hey, man, Josh, man, hey, he threw an INT in that game. He choked, you know. That's a whole nother story.
Coming the other way. So if the quarterback doesn't ride the center as he's moving forward as physically as he is, and as much contact and force as there is at the snap, it can happen. And I know from my own experience that's all you worry about initially is getting a snap. But the other part of it, and I don't know if it was talked about or not, is they don't take a lot of snaps from underneath center. So I don't want to say it's foreign, because they do some of it, but it's not something they do a ton of. But that was, I did see during the broadcast that they showed a lot of close-ups as to what happened, or maybe not the broadcast, but something else that I saw later, and they were breaking down how this happened. My experience is, you don't know. I mean,
look, he don't even know, man. But shout out to my guy Troy, man. Great guy, man. I met Troy twice. If I can meet him a third time, man, now at my statue now, I'll be livid, right? Y'all let me know how many times y'all met Troy. I need to get his beer. Come on.
Mobbing with my brothers, there's no question, keep it real. Whether we East Coast and or we in the hidden hills. In the popping straps of blue faces, not the pills.
There are 5 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Keep it off the books and keep it coming in.
Yo, as the road fill up, appreciate y'all so much, man. My guy Damon met Troy 9 times. Wow. What you did? You stayed at his house, man? Come on, that's a lot of times meeting that man. 9 times? Man, that's dope, man. Shout out to Troy Aikman and all what he brought to the nation, Cowboy Nation. All right, we got the first caller off the jump. We got Coach Moore from the 803. Coach Moore, talk to me.
What's going on, Law, man? I had some good, man, but you know, I like the little chat room we were sitting down waiting on you, man. Hey, man, we got a chance to top it up with some good things, and you know they got my 3 points in focus for me, man. So let me go ahead and get to it right quick, right? Law, let's don't fall for it. Cowboy fans, let's don't fall for it. Because you know something, Law, I want to say something. And I love 105.3, and I understand the relationships. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But they're the major pushers of the propaganda that comes from out the building. 3 days they done talked about what option routes and option routes. Y'all, some went on Kellen, then went on Dan Quinn. Yeah. 3 days they ain't talk about running the football. Then we should have ran the football. Yeah. Because it's good, because we getting off that. We'll throw that out there, but we're gonna get off of that. We're gonna go right back to what because they're still. And then let me tell you what their main belief is. Their main belief is we pay a man $40 million that he got to be the hero.
You talking about from the 105, right? That's the main philosophy. Yeah, they're gonna be around the bush, and eventually they're gonna come back to being his Dak fault. Now watch what I tell you, man. Eventually they're gonna go all around. I know who you're talking about too. But you know
they're gonna come right back there.
But Coach, you already know how it is, man. Now you're gonna be a Dak head. You're a Dak head now.
Yeah, I know, but let's be this. And second point, we should know this, Cowboy fans. One thing the Joneses won't do is ever admit that they're wrong ain't on a major decision.
Right.
And Kellen Moore was a major decision.
Yeah.
For his youth and putting him in a high-powered position as they did.
Yeah.
And he's not that person.
Nah.
But they would not say that. They would go to the hilt. Like they went with Jason Garrett for a long time, man. Yeah. When they saw his flaws. And they would do everything to dispute it. They would try to bring in do this and that, whatever, to try to make it work. but they will never say that was a total bust.
No, they won't. They won't.
So let's remember that when we hear the stories and when they talk and all that stuff. Let's understand that, because it's all a plan, a very calculated, very billion-dollar plan to give you a whole lot of other stuff to get you off the hunt. Third point, Mike McCarthy. I understand when we talk about he's solid, well, I'm not solid. Well, he don't have no power, okay? But I find it very, very hard, week after week, in big games for year after year, in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. When you have a time for time management, when you're up by 14 points, you don't pull the reins and say we need to control the ball a little bit more. You cannot tell me, no one can tell me that this is because he's powerless in the organization. I may say like this: what if he shuts the play calling down during that game and say, "Hey, no, we gonna do this"? What is he scared of? Kellen gonna go back and tell the Joneses that he took control, so the Joneses gonna fire him the next day?
Ooh, yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. Yeah.
If he's that scared, because if he's that scared, he don't need to be on the sideline.
Yeah.
I'm saying this, and I said this 1,000 times, and it's gonna come back to truth. Some of this stuff he agree with.
Yeah.
So it can't be all of it that he don't agree with, and he sits there and allow it to go on. No, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
That's not common sense. That means some of this philosophy you agree with. So it may be a couple of things he may not agree with, but some of this, some of the way you're going about it, you agree with it. You may not like the way that we're calling passes. You may not like the option routes, but you have still been calling passes.
That I don't have any rebuttal to, Coach. And you're absolutely right with it. So at this point, those 3 points right there, Coach, I got no rebuttal to it. You right on the money. At some point, he got to agree with it, right? I appreciate you, Coach, man, for calling in. Good call.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one, man.
Good call for Coach Marv, y'all. Put your hands together for Coach, man. And at some point, you got to understand that even with the Jones family, like what they agree and how they feel about their philosophy, the second most winningest coach in Cowboys history is Jason Garrett, right? So we can look at histories and stats and these sorts of things, right? And we can say, all right, cool. 2 things can be true, right? That's the title of this show right here. 2 things can be true. But even if it's true, don't mean that it's right. It don't mean that it's right. Somebody gonna look up like, no way, ain't no way, Jason Garrett. He's the second most winningest coach in Cowboys history, right? It is. But you got to contextualize, okay, he's been coaching here for a long time, and they just got rid of him in 2020. And now we got to start open the Mike McCarthy's resume, the Mike McCarthy's era. But everybody can see with their natural eyes, the next man in charge will be Kellen Moore. We can see that. My guy from the VIP lounge is from the 860. What's good?
Lord VIP, baby!
Yeah.
Lord, first of all, you just upset my stomach with that. Like, please take that. Lord, first of all, I want to say how when we was on the chat line, me, Jazz, Coach, everybody, I love that. I'm going to start chiming in a little earlier so I get on the chat with the family, with my Law Nation family.
I appreciate you, man.
But we're talking about a few things, but I definitely want to hit on this. If we, as a Cowboy Nation as a whole, don't start doing what Micah was talking about, it's plain and simple. Everybody has to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Period. That's from the top to the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if Micah even admitted to, like, I'm not gonna play no hero ball, I'm gonna stay in my lane because he's trying to overcompensate for players that aren't playing. I'm watching that touchdown run.
Hey, you threw me off for a minute, man, because I thought you were saying Mike, so I think you was talking about Mike McCarthy or Michael Irvin. Or
no,
but
Micah.
You talking about Parsons, Parsons. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead with it.
Micah said, if you listen to his interview, I mean, I know he was vexed after the game, was in his feelings, but he basically said that we got to be held accountable. Guys are getting out of their lane trying to get to the quarterback. So I went back and watched the film again after that. Flowers, even though I love me some John, we fell back on Marcus Armstrong. He's not playing good against the run, bro.
Yeah, Dorrance Armstrong.
Yeah. Our best run stopper outside of Tank is our rookie. Why is he not getting enough? We have to put Sam in more. I don't give a damn what's wrong. Sam's got to get more run. He's our best run stopper outside of Tank.
But let me say this. You remember I was telling everybody on the opening of the show, if you was here, I was talking about my daughter. She failed a spelling bee test, right? And then we went over it. We studied all night, and then she never flunked it since then. But the first time, the reason why she failed was because she was just trying to she wanted me to be proud of her, right? So I think that what happening is that you remember at the start of the season, all of those guys were trying to get sacks, right? Everybody was talking about, hey, I'm going to get more sacks than yo. And D-Law was like, no, I'm going to get more sacks than yo. And they are competitive. They compete. But what happens when the rabbit gets the gun, right? The team said, okay, we're going to run it because you overemphasizing the sacks. And that's why I look at it like two things can be true. That I believe that this defense, if they can just stay focused, stay disciplined, and listen to what Parsons is saying. I love it when he said, I don't care if I get 0 sacks.
That's right.
As long as we get the win. Now, that, my friend, is a valuable statement.
And that's a mentality and now that's coming from Micah. The star. He is the star. He is the best player on our team. I'll just say defense for now. But on our team, if that's his mentality, the rest of y'all got to fall back. Y'all got to fall back and say,
you know why that's important, fam? Because he is the only one that can say it. Because he is the highest sack total guy on the team. It wouldn't mean a hill of beans if Fowler say, you know what? I'm going to stop being trying to go for these sacks, and I'm just going to play my lane. If I got cutback responsibility or contain, I'm going to do that. But by Parsons saying that, now everybody said, it's no more who can have the highest sack total, double-digit sacks, and these sorts of things. Woo, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, and it's like you said, and it's something like my son sitting right here. We just got him from school, and I said to myself, my son said when he was going to practice the other day, he was like, Dad, I'm trying to coach him from the sideline while his coach is coaching. He's like, Dad, can you just hang out outside so I can focus in better and zone in? And because we put too much pressure on them, and it's just I think that's what Kellen Moore is falling victim of. I think he just thinks he's putting too much pressure on himself. He's thinking himself. He's overthinking.
Right. Don't do 46 passes. Draw it up for 26 passes.
Come on. That right there, he should be on punishment. If my son drew up a damn game plan for him throwing 40 passes, and we got Aaron bleeping Rodgers, and he only threw 20. Come on, bro. Come on, man. We got to just think better. We got to do better. We got to think better. Well, like that, the turnaround in the game was that first interception, and I blame that. That wasn't on CD. That was on our tight end. Our tight end was dragging. So if he's dragging, put in Hendershot. Put in one of them other rookies. I know we're faithful to our players, but, bro, he cannot run those patterns that you need, those clear-out patterns. I need more speed. I need him to take that safety away. He never even got to the safety, so the safety got to step up. Safety basically played 2 players.
He played 2, and they both had option routes, and they both picked the same option.
And
That's what
happened.
He gave up because he said,
gave
snap.
up on the route at the end.
He did, man. I appreciate you for calling in, man. Let me hear you say it.
Law, you already know what it is. How about them Cowboys? I ain't a killer, but don't push me, Law.
Yes, indeed. Revenge is like the sweetest joy. My God, next man from the 202, Glenn Law, man. What's good with you?
Hey, what's good, Law? Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday.
Great show as usual.
Appreciate you.
So I'm just going to kind of jump right into it, and I kind of want to get your opinion, if you don't mind. I appreciate the back and forth. Am I crazy to think that and this is on defense, I think we need to run less single high safety, more two deep zone, and maybe a little man underneath with respect to Diggs and even the other corners, provided that we stay in too deep. It just seems to me that, and maybe it's the bitter taste of that game against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the minute those receivers got by our corners, they were gone, and I'm like, where's the safety? Oh, I forgot. We're playing single high again. Am I crazy?
No. Any 2 or 3, you got to have a strong 7. Up 7 up front. And if you have a fickle up front, then you're going to see that happening. We were not generating pressure from our front, and then we were not stopping the run from our front. Now, if you got your front, like I'm talking about the defensive linemen in general and your linebackers, then you wouldn't have to get cute by sliding down one of your high safeties down inside to help run support. And even if you got too deep, and if your guys can just zone in, and if he got forced responsibility, even if he's on top of the roof and he come down and feel and not hesitate, shoot, you can still you can still have a dynamic defense. But where they trying to do is, you have a smaller team in the Cowboys, right? They're trying to make it up by speed, rally, and chase. But what happened is teams saying, okay, you may win on the first series, but the second series, I doubt it if you can keep that same energy.
Right. But you're speaking to the complementary football, which I kind of feel like we've gotten away from that blueprint. Right. It's sort of like we have our toy back in, our starting quarterback.
Right.
And it's like, let me show you everything that I can do. Let me go spread offense. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. We started out 4-2. We started out 4-2. We were handcuffed at quarterback. Yet I would argue that those 6 games, maybe except for the first game, but those 5 games, that was some of the best coaching that I saw as far as when it comes to the coordinators.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job of showing, 2 and 3 tight end sets and being explosive out of those sets. You can be explosive without being in a spread formation, and that's my frustration with what's happening in some of these games. It's like Kellen only thinks he can be explosive if I come out in 3 wide shotgun, or it doesn't make sense. And so I would like to see them get back to the fundamentals on defense, less man, less stunning, play zone, but on offense, you rest your defenders by running the football and controlling the game. You can try and go out there and blow people out, but it's not happening if you're not able to run the football and control the game, kind of like Tennessee did last night.
My God.
I was envious last night. I was salivating, and I'm saying to myself, that Vrabel, he can coach his butt off.
He can
coach his butt off. And so with that, I'll let you go, Law. I'd like to see us get back to controlling the game. Just control the game, and I think that will go a lot farther.
You going to wait till the day of to give your score prediction, or you want to give it now?
I'll give it now. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'll say Cowboys 23, Vikings 20. I'll say 23-20.
No doubt. Appreciate you, Glenn. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks.
Yeah. I would take hear me out. Don't shank me with the butter knife. That's my guy, Glenn Law. I would take a boring win versus an exciting loss. Give me the boring win. Give me the game whereas we ground and pound. And what he's talking about with Mike Verbal, he is a guy. He is a classic man. I'm a classic man. However that song goes, I forgot the words of it, but he is a classic man. The way he styled and draw up the team on the offense and the defensive side, I don't like it at all. I love it. I love it. I love the way he hold his players accountable. I love the way he just get things going in the right directions. And he said, "Okay, Aaron, all right, you got me. Hey, one of y'all guys, next time Aaron do you again like that, just fall down. Tell him it's your ankle. Tell him it's your knee. Play around with it. I'm hurt, you know." You know, you just got to do those type of things. Now, I'm not gonna put Kellen Moore in the doghouse, right? But we better not see nor Mike McCarthy. Even though y'all know I was mad, boy. Woo, I was mad. It took me until like Wednesday to get over Mike McCarthy, and I'm still mad, you know. And it's Friday. And every time I think about it too long, I get madder. But we better see some adjustments, and we'll see. Chris, 214, you're live. Christopher from the 972.
Oh, sorry. Hey.
You're on line one. What's good, man? Talk to me, man.
What's going on, man?
Nothing to it, man.
Hey.
Talk to me.
You was mad. I was mad. Man, Law. It's nothing worse than think that you're going to win a game and they go out there and pull that nonsense. I think everybody in Cowboy Nation had that nasty taste in their mouth after that game.
It goes back to like this, Chris. It go back to this. Would you rather get blown out or lose a short or close game? You know, I'd rather for the score to been 45 to like 3.
Exactly, man. I would rather get blown out because you already know what your fate is. All right, cool.
Right.
But don't get my hopes up.
Don't play around with my feelings. Yeah, man. Shoot. If I get your number, you don't give me the wrong number, lady. Come on, you know.
Exactly. But no, I just wanted to make this couple point right here, man. The offense definitely had a relapse.
Yeah.
Just like if you have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
That's what we went back. We had a relapse. But this time we was winning, Law. We was winning. We were
winning.
up. We were winning this time, so it's like, man, I don't want to see this. Like, I can't take another game like that. Like, I just can't.
No,
I just can't. And that goes back to the freaking in overtime.
Yeah.
Like, I totally agree. If you are going to go for it on fourth down, try to make second and third as easy. Like, try you get your short yards on those downs, so try to make it as easy as possible on fourth down. Like, I didn't understand that at all.
Right.
And yeah, that's bad, man.
Man, hello.
But I think everything will be fine if we go out there and do what we got to do against the Vikings. So, man, like, that's still in the back of our heads that we were up by 14 points in the fourth quarter. We, as a team, have to remove that immediately.
Yeah.
We have to.
We do, man. We got to figure out a way. Like what I do when I see things like that is that I kind of compare it to, like, all right, how in the playoffs, if we had those same hiccups, will we continue to do the same thing? That's how I look at it.
Exactly.
So are we making the corrections now, or are we going to revisit this same thing down the line? And that's what I fear, if the Cowboys do those same exact things and we see those same issues down the line, and that would really make me mad if they don't correct these issues now. So we'll wait and see this weekend to see whether or not the Cowboys cannot have that relapse thing. You know what I mean? You know, I appreciate you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Good call from Chris, man. As I was looking for a little thing that I can pull up right quick to to get my mind on this thing. Let me see if I can find it though a better way. Let me see if I can find it a better way. Y'all bear with me. That thing, it don't want to work that way. Okay, well that's okay. It's okay. And let's go. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. I guess because it's we'll find another day. 432, you're live.
How you doing, Law?
The conference has been locked.
All is well, man. I can't complain.
All right, just making sure you can hear me.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Dak and a little bit of quarterback development history to all the people that are hating on Dak and everything like that. As you know, what year does the quarterback actually start developing and taking the next step? I'm pretty sure you know.
What years the quarterback, like in the past or like modern day? Because modern day, you see quarterbacks now, they show you some promises in year one, believe it or not, and then year two you can get like a good feel of the quarterback. But some quarterback works and operate differently depending on the system that they go to. Nobody's seen Geno Smith doing the things that he's doing now, but we can all clearly see that he's in a perfect system, right, that complements him. So it just depends, man. It's a very, very unique way.
I guess sort of going back, normally a quarterback takes the next step in the third year, right?
Third or fourth year, shoot, it takes a minute back in those days, yeah.
All right. Dak's third year was the last year of Scott Linehan, right?
All right, so let me do 2016, 17, 18. Yep, 18 was his third year. Yeah, last year at Linehan. Yep.
And if you look at his stats, he took a little bit of step down on when it comes to passing, but he started using his legs more that third year. Then all of a sudden, you get rid of Scott Linehan and you insert Kellen Moore. So now Dak has to learn a whole new system when he was already used to one system throughout his rookie year, second year, third year. And I looked up the numbers. He actually threw about 10 more passes per game between Scott Linehan and Kellen Moore. So he's got to learn a whole new offense, learn new concepts, and he ran a lot less. And then the next year he gets hurt, so that's kind of a wash. And now you come in with a whole new head coach and pretty much a whole new offensive coordinator because you've only had that offensive coordinator for 1 year. So Dak has never really got a chance to actually develop and take the next step.
Well, I'm looking at everything now. His first year without Scott Linehan, one can argue that was his most efficient year. Close to 5,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And I think the Cowboys finished in 2019 8-8, coming off of 2018 where he won a playoff game, or he was on a team that won a playoff game. So I don't know, man. I just look at it like this. The Cowboys are going to go as far as the quarterback allowed them to go. But I say that loosely because I want them to also understand that to run the ball, make it efficient. Let's not put everything in the hands of four. That's how I look at it. We know he can throw the ball all over the field. That's not the questioning. But at what consistency level, or what is the max level that you want him to do it at? And I came up with a unique number, anywhere between 24 and 27 attempts. Anything over that, that's when we start seeing these little hiccups.
I agree there. And I was going to say another thing. And that's all on Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore need to play to his strengths or coach to his strength. Guess what?
Exactly.
That's what they doing for Geno. That's what they doing for Geno in Seattle.
I was about to go there too.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying Russell Denver was a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
They get Russell Wilson, that's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and put him in with a first-year head coach.
Yeah.
And who's looking better right now, Geno or Russell?
Yep, systems, man. Geno is looking a whole lot better right now. If the Denver want to trade for Geno right now, the Seattle Seahawks probably like, nah, dog, you got Russell. Yeah. But I appreciate you so much for calling in, fam.
Yes, sir.
Good call from him. All right, and not to be disrespectful to any quarterback out there, but I believe that sweet number 24 to 27 is for all quarterbacks, believe it or not, but it is what it is at this point. As far as the efficiency levels of Dak Prescott, we all seen him his rookie year, right? Keep it short and simple. Keep it simple for the quarterback. Let's get behind a good, impressive running attack with this offensive line, and then let's play sound defense, right? That's how everything can work out for this team in the right way. I put Turpin in as wide receiver. This is from, is that Reichman? Appreciate you. Thank you for calling in or chatting that in. Does Turpin really runs a 4.31? I seen that man ran a 4.29. But let's get my guy in from the 281. You're live.
Hey, hello, Law. And,
hey.
I always say thank you for giving the people a voice.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, just coaches are on the money. I always like hearing him. And I'm going to give you a real quick personal rundown. I grew up a Cowboys fan. I was, in school playing football. And I would see Roger Staubach and so on. And I remember Clint Longley's Thanksgiving Day game.
Wow.
I'll go YouTube that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something else. And then, Cowboys got sold and Landry got fired. And I didn't like the way all that went down,
Right.
So I drifted off into the Oilers, for a while. And they were underachievers. They're exciting to watch, though, and then they moved on from Houston. So I come back to Dallas.
Shame.
Shame. I can't help it.
You
That's
jump
what
ship.
happens, man.
You jump shipped over there to the Houston Oilers.
You don't fire Landry, man. That's like like that. I mean, he hasn't been around back then. Yeah, I think you're maybe my age.
Yeah.
They said I'm packing,
I know Houston. They had that spread them, and they were doing their thing for that short little period of time, and then it was terrible for us because the Washington team won, and then the Giants win, and then the Eagles were just there in the early '90s, right? And I remember fighting tooth and nail. And my favorite player of all time during that time stay was Everson Wall. So it was devastating.
Oh, yeah.
It was devastating for me to see him win a Super Bowl with the Giants, right? So I get you, but I ain't jumped though.
Well, I jumped. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your honesty.
Warren Moon, man. You gotta watch the Warren Moon. That boy can throw the ball.
Oh yeah, he can sling it. Yeah.
And so I come back. Jerry Jones. He kind of got friendlier as he got older.
Hold on. What year did you come back though? What year did you come back? So this is pivotal.
Oh, about maybe 8 years ago. During the Romo.
So you skipped past the Super Bowls, right? So you wasn't even rooting for the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, right?
No, not in that era.
Wow.
I respected them, but I wasn't, buying their swag and all that, all that shit. Anyhow, but look here now. I've been into the Cowboys, but look, if Kellen Moore, this guy, and then Coach McCarthy, and then I watch year after year. Making bad calls, not knowing that you got the red flag in your pocket when you can get a first down, bad clock management, bad, play calling. If they wet the bed again in the playoffs,
yeah,
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Man,
I don't know how long can you know what I mean? It's like when you got a woman that's messing up on you. How long can you hang on?
Oh no, man, but
maybe you can talk me out of it. But I want them to live up to their potential. And
but
these
you know
jokers
what?
they got for coaches, man, I just can't deal with it no more.
I'm thinking now, though. What's your name again? Let me save you in here. What's your name again?
Bruce.
Bruce, don't you know? When you was gone, the Cowboys were winning. So it's you the reason why the Cowboys are not winning, man. Come on, go root for the Oilers, man. Go root for the Texans, man.
Fire Kellen Moore. Hey, man, I'm out here. Thank you.
Hey, Bruce, man, I love you, man. Thank you so much for calling in, man. Oh, it's Bruce. Bruce, I found the reason why the Cowboys are not winning. Oh, it's Bruce's fault. You see, we were winning when he was rooting for the other team. But when he jumped back over to the Cowboys, we stopped winning. Think about it. The all-time favorite to root for the Cowboys were in the 90s. Bruce thought, he said, I can't deal with Jerry Jones no more because he fired Tom Landry and all of the stuff that he caused for this organization and franchise. That billionaire, he's a fool, right? In 1989, we went 1-15, and then in 1990 and 1991, we started springing up a little bit, but Bruce wasn't sold. But in 1992 and 93 and 94, Bruce still wasn't sold, even after 3 Super Bowls, right? But then Bruce came back aboard. Oh, my goodness. Don't you know what happened, Bruce? You said he started rooting for the Cowboys under the Tony Romo era. So I truly believe in 2006, it was Bruce that started to root for the Cowboys, and it made the ball slippery, and the ball we had 2 Super Bowls back to back in 06 and 07. If Bruce would have stayed rooting for the Texans.
Dracarys.
Oh my gosh, man. Bruce, I'm just playing with you though, man. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to make logics of it, man. Nah, man, Bruce didn't root for the Cowboys in the 90s, man. Woo. Trey, it's Bruce's fault. I found a person that's the reason why the Cowboys are not winning. You live, Trey.
Hey.
What's good?
What's going on, gang?
What's good? Everything's well.
All I can say is I believe that they, untook their tail out of their, between their legs, and they read it. Because after I saw the, Parsons talking to the media and DeMarcus Lawrence, they all agreed that it was their fault, themselves. Nobody pointed the finger at each other. They pointed it at themselves. They know what they did wrong. And Parsons told them, I don't care what's going on. This ain't happening no more. I don't care who it is. And that's all I'm saying. And for that man to get on there and say it like he said it, and everybody know he's the number 1 player, trust and believe. This won't happen again. So all these people, it's going to be the same. No, it's not. No, it's not. We play every team different. Every team play every team different. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. We went in there. We would have beat them stupid Packers. Everybody know that. That's why they lost last night against the Titans. The way Tannehill ran over them folks. Come on, y'all. Let's be real. I just feel like Kellen Moore, you know what I'm saying? Him and McCarthy, I'm just being honest with you. I just felt like that long conversation he had with Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, they threw that damn game. I'm just telling y'all. I don't know what be going on with these people. I don't know why they do the things that they do. But for some reason, these Cowboys, we always in the limelight, and it's always something ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just Jerry Jones. Like, you just have to have something ridiculous. We win in this game, y'all. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it again. This won't happen anymore. You remember the last game we played? It was Cooper Rush.
Right.
We played with the Vikings, but CeeDee Lamb got off. Diggs got off. Jeffrey couldn't do nothing with Diggs. He had 1 completion. 1.
And Cedric Wilson got off too. He had threw a nice pass to, I think, CeeDee Lamb, and the safety was trying to take his neck off.
Yeah. So, we don't have Cedric, but I'm telling y'all, this will be a very different game. Everybody going to come out scratching their head like, okay, why y'all couldn't do this shit last week? You see what I'm saying? So, I'm telling y'all, we're not going to let Philadelphia thinking what is it? The way we lined up,
Right.
The Washington, they 5, we 6, New York 7, and 8. That is so crazy. It's 5, 6, 7, 8. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I just feel like the Philadelphia, they fail only to catch us up. Them Colts is going to get those Eagles. I don't care who they got. ND Naku, whatever his name is, Donica Sue, however you say his name, it's ridiculous.
I'm just saying so.
I don't care who they go get. I don't care who they go get. He's 35 years old. He ain't gonna do no more than Haskins doing who we got in our front line. So y'all can just stop that. We know Donica Sue is old, low down person playing the game, but that dude ain't that same dude no more. Everybody needs to calm down. We ain't worried about that.
No doubt.
We ain't worried
Let me
about
ask you this though, before I let you go. What's your score prediction, or are you gonna wait for Sunday when I do the call show?
35-21 Cowboys all day long, baby. We gonna beat them folks, bro. Y'all need to stop it.
And then make sure you drink out of that cup I sent you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
I love it. I got it right with me now, which you can see. Yes, sir. Go everywhere with me.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
Y'all
you.
have a good one.
Thank you. Good call from her. And I'm gonna say this again. I gotta protect my guy, man, Bruce. I absolutely love Bruce, man, for him calling in the previous caller to be just 100, man, keeping it a buck, man, or keeping it a G, or however the kids said these days and times, right? Keeping it 100. And I seen somebody wrote down, there's a lot of Bruces in the chat, right? Someone who was angry and upset at the Jones family in 1989 when he ultimately fired Tom Landry. Man, come on, man. A lot of people were angry and upset, and they ripped their jerseys off, and they, said they're not following the team anymore. And they stood by it, right? And then they realized that after, so many years that they said, you know what, Jerry doing the right thing, right? And then he did the wrong thing by getting rid of Jimmy, or having that dispute with Jimmy, and they couldn't come into an agreement with each other. I trust me. I can't stand the Cowboys at times, man. They get under my skin, but I love them, right? I'm like that picture of the two couples that's arguing, that old man with the umbrella that's hanging it over the lady's head, saying that, hey, even though we don't like each other right now, I still look after you, whatever that saying is. Y'all know the meme, or meme or what have you. So I feel them. And I always look at it, my only stance of it, because it's hard. This is the hardest team to root for, or one of the hardest team to root for, because everybody going to give us their best, right? We're going to be talked about. There's nothing under the radar, right? Like what the Eagles did, signing Sue. Like a third of the Eagles fans didn't even know that Sue was in their spotlight, right? Like the Eagles did of signing Lavelle Joseph, a third of the Eagles fan didn't even know who he was, right? And then, like what the Eagles did this offseason, them picking up A.J. Brown, the Eagles guys didn't see that coming, right? Right? So that's just how it goes. All right, so here are my next slew of callers. I got the 562, the 832, and then I got Hakeem. So let's go with the 562. You're live.
Yo, bro.
Yo, what's good with you, man?
All right. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great. What's your name?
Well, in the chat, I'm Spock. Can you save me?
Spock!
That. Yeah.
Can you save me?
Spock, can you save me? Brother,
beat me
okay,
up.
so check it out. So remember last week when you had your brother on, I was trying to hit you up. Because I wanted to ask you and your brother a couple questions real quick. But I know this ain't that point, but the one thing I do want to ask you, check it out. So one of my best homies, he's a Rams fan, right? This is the reason I called your show last week. Remember, I couldn't get through.
Right.
And my homie hit me up. I'm like, "What's up?" He's a Rams fan. And he's like, "Bro," this way he told me. He's like, "Hey, I hope the Baltimore Ravens get their shit together with Lamar." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Why do you care?" Because he's a Rams fan.
Right.
He's like, "Bro, I just don't want San Fran to get Lamar."
And I was like, oh shit, you're right, bro. After this, he's a free agent.
Yeah, that'd be foolish to let him be a free
Your
agent.
brother, bro.
Oh,
Dude, and they're still not done with that fool's contract, right? No.
My brother believes that Trey is the next Pat Mahomes, though.
No. Trey Lance? Really?
Hey, next Wednesday when we on the show, you would ask him, would he rather have Lamar Jackson or Trey? He called him Killer Trey, whatever the quarterback's last name.
For real?
Trey something. Yeah, Trey, whatever his name is.
Well, all I know is that one of my good homies is like, he's a Rams fan. He's like Ram. He's like Baltimore. Please,
Trey Lance. Yeah.
No. He wants Baltimore to sign fucking Lamar quick because he doesn't want Lamar to go to San Francisco, because San Francisco, how many times they beat the Rams like 7, 8, 9 times in the regular season straight, right?
Right. They are literally 8-1 against. Yeah. Like he don't need to be worried. He need to be worried. Tell your friend he need to be worried about Jimmy Garoppolo, because they are 8-1 versus the Rams are literally 8-1 versus Kyle Shanahan 49ers. Yeah. Okay, so it don't matter. It don't matter. They can have me as a quarterback.
But but dude, he's fearing like the inevitable. He's already seeing like this black sky. But anyways, brother, check this out. Okay, so the next couple things. I want to run a couple things by you. Okay? Gallup, bruv, check this out. Do you remember that play versus Green Bay? That stupid-ass Green Bay play where Gallup got that screenplay where they just threw it to Gallup?
Yeah, and then he was like, yeah. that play,
Why are you doing that? Gallup doesn't have like his knees, his ankles, his legs are not there. His body is not there to like juke out someone and run for him.
Right.
Why?
That read right there, they call that play when the DB is lying off. It's really a check play to see whether or not they're in a certain looks. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
Law. Check this out though. Two things are working against that play. One, Gallup is not 100%. He's not like some guy who's going to juke you out and fucking run for,
right?
The length of the field. First of all. Two, if you look at that play, go back and look at that play. The cornerback on the bottom of the field, on the bottom, on the opposite side, meaning like Gallup was the left side and everyone else was the right side, right? The cornerback guarding Lamb and everyone on the right side, he started jumping around doing, hey, look, it's going to you. He was doing jumping jacks, pointing the play out. You know why?
Why
because it's predictable.
Oh, yeah. All of the screen passes.
It's predictable. Yeah. Go back and look at that play, Law. Look at that fucking play. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little dude
just doing jumping jacks.
Hey.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, Spock, man. Thank you. I'm going to go back and I'm going to rewind that play and I'm going to still look at it. I appreciate you, man. What you got down for your score prediction before I let you roll, Spock?
You know what? Oh, my God. Dallas 35, Minnesota 21.
Okay. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let's go.
There we go, bro.
Let's go, man. He just stole my girl Trey's prediction. She said 35-21, but we'll take both of them, And I may be generous if that happened. We may give out something, if that happened. All right, I got two callers, 832 and Hakeem the Dream. All right, 832, you're live.
What's up, Law?
Nothing to it, Chief, man. Down there in Houston.
Man, I kind of blame like some of our mishaps on the off season, man. Because like I was going back and just looking at like how a receiver, if we would have got one in the offseason, how it would have helped us out. Knowing that we was going to get rid of Cooper,
Right.
like, and we didn't want to pay him that $20 million. I'm thinking if we could have went out and got somebody in free agent that's similar in stature with speed and route running ability, and just gave him, you know what I'm saying, like 15.
Man, they sold us though. They sold us, bro. They sold us Jalen Tolbert. Remember, I was trying to have that. I was trying to pivot to that, and then they said, "Law, man, Jalen Tolbert, man, look at his tape. He's going to bring in something equivalent to X, Y, and Z." And that's what happened, man. The unknown when you deal with that, right? So, hey, the only time the Cowboys,
But see, that's the thing, though. Like, I feel like what a team at now, I feel like we Super Bowl ready. I don't feel like we need to wait for somebody to develop halfway through the season. Yeah. You get somebody like with the same, like I said, the same pedigree as Cooper, you know, and then even with that guy hurt, it would have been another weapon for Rush. And I feel like we at least be 8-1 instead of 6-3. Because I feel like with that coming off, not playing any time in the preseason, he was just too rusty to win that game with how that defense is playing that first game, Tampa Bay. So that's what I kind of blame. Like,
but the problem is with that. The problem is with that, Chief, is it's hard, bro. The Cowboys were 4-1 with Cooper Rush. The philosophy changed. They wanted to run the ball, get in front of TOP. 4-1. You can't start looking for people when you're winning. And the Cowboys just not that team to be looking for people when they win it. It takes the Cowboys to be losing for them to make a trade. That's how they did with Amari Cooper.
In the offseason. That's why I'm saying we should have been in the offseason knowing we was getting rid of him anyway.
You talking about
That's why
Cooper?
I'm saying that not looking at hindsight and I'm saying we going 4-1 with Rush. I'm saying the offseason, get that veteran receiver, and then there would have been another weapon. And I believe how we came back on the Eagles, we could have won that game with another weapon.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
True.
We could have won that game with another weapon. We was only a turnover away from winning that game. If he don't throw that last interception, we win that game.
You talking about the Eagles game, right?
Rush.
Oh, Rush
game.
Yeah,
the Eagles game. If we don't throw that last interception when we was driving, and he throw that last, if we don't throw that last interception, we win that game. Sure. My opinion, we win that game, and we stood it rolling.
We win that game if we don't go for it on our side of the field, right? On 4th and 1, and we win that game if we stick to the philosophy and the formula. That's what the Washington team just did. They stuck to the philosophy. They ran that ball 39 times against the Eagles. 39, fam.
And then we should have. And that's another thing.
Yeah, stick to it.
I do not want to wear out Micah, man. We should have got Bobby Wagner or Von Miller. I believe if they try to go back with this same defensive personnel, we're gonna end up wearing him out like how we did DeMarcus Ware. And I don't want to see that. Just trying to have that one dominant guy.
Right.
Just trying to make him the sole focal of the defense. I understand we got Diggs in the back, but we need somebody else either in the linebacker so he can rush 90% of the time or vice versa. And he can just roam around and do him or whatever. We need someone in one of those spots that's dominant.
Yep.
That kind of help him out, give him a break. And I believe we'll have, because I don't want to just have no 1 year we get to the big dance and whether we win or lose or whatever, and then we have a drop-off like how it's going on now with the Rams and Tampa Bay. I want that success like Kansas City had. Go to the Super Bowl, go to another NFC championship game, another NFC champ. Like, that's the kind of success I want to see with the Cowboys. Because I've been bleeding blue since I've been here on this earth. You know what I'm saying? I love my Cowboys, and that's just what I want to see, man. I just want to see a couple of signings like that, and I believe we can just, with the roster that we have, I believe we can go all the way, and we continue that success. It ain't got to be no in-between.
Yeah, man. You're a good caller, man. I appreciate you for calling in, fam. Thank you.
Yeah, and that score.
Yeah. What you got?
I'm gonna go 31-17. 31-17 Cowboys.
Man, damn. All right, bro. I would love that one. Appreciate you for calling in. Thank you.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them, man? 31-17. Ooh-wee. On the road, man, against an 8-1 team, that would be nice, man. What I look at with this team, and I really thank the people that understand that I get it, right? We seen the linebackers in the past like a Ray Lewis. But what if I told you that Ray Lewis couldn't do it all by himself, right? He had Adelius Thomas with him. He had Suggs with him. Y'all remember him? Haloti Nada, and he had Ed Reed in 06 and 07, all of those things. So you can't just sit back and say, all right, and Samari Rolls, y'all remember that team? Right? And you got to put weapons around. Chris McAllister, y'all remember that team. So what the Cowboys ultimately doing is saying, all right, cool, we got Parsons, we got Diggs, we cool. Nah, dog, you got to put some tandems around that mug, man. Haloti Nada was nobody to sneeze at. And then before that time frame, because they won a Super Bowl ring before Ed Reed got there, they had those boys ready. Big boys up front, man, Sam Adams and all of those guys. But it wasn't just Ed, wasn't just Ray by himself, So you got to still, even though you look at your team, you like your team, but you got to start looking for tandems. You're going to have to start saying, all right, cool. We only put you, Parsons, on the edge because D-Law broke his foot. But we drafted you, God-dogger, to be a linebacker. And Bart Scott, appreciate you, Shelton, appreciate you. You got to figure this thing out. The Cowboys should look into this thing and say, all right, next season, we drafting an edge guy, a dominant edge guy, or we drafting, because we got Sam Williams now. At some point, we got to look at D-Law and say, okay, yeah, we read him up, but that's a long tooth. You got to start looking for a replacement. Right? Y'all laughed at me when I said I wanted Karlaftis, man. I think he's doing a good job so far for the Chiefs. But what I'm saying is that you got to start looking at tandem. So right now, whoever the dog of the dogs in linebacker world, since we refuse to spend any draft capital for Roquan, and I get it. Sure, if you playing around with your food, you need to say, all right, Devin Harper, Jabril Cox, yeah, they good. But shoot, Damone Clark, yeah, we got high hopes for him, but I ain't finna sit around. If you got the possibility of drafting a good stud linebacker, shoot, draft that. Start thinking tandems, Start thinking tandems, man. And then you got to start figuring this thing out. We need two more things on the defensive side too. Another safety and another DB. You need to be thinking about that too. Down the line, down the stretch. Not saying that Malik Hooker is not the answer, right? And not saying that Dayron Bland, and I'm going to give Dayron Bland a pass in his pass game. Wrong cleat size. Go look at him. He'll slip and slide it everywhere over that field. And you got to have your rookie mistake in games too. So Panthers, Burns, defensive end guy, yeah. AB is the GOAT. Are you talking about Antonio? Are you talking about Anthony Barr? Or are you talking about Anthony Brown? Tello. All right, we got another caller that's sitting here waiting patiently. Hakeem from the 469. Talk to me, fam.
Well, I agree with that last caller and what he was saying in regards to Micah a little bit, somewhat. Everybody was happy these past 2 weeks when the Cowboys beat the Lions and the Bears, but I have been hitting the panic button weeks ago when we played against the Eagles when we had Cooper Rush, but they done fell back into that same trap to where they're passing happy, to where they believe Dak can do it all himself. They believe Dak can do it himself. He had a lot more pass back drops this game, and they believe Dak can do it. But the problem is Dak is still having some of those same problems that I have been saying for quite some time. When it's finally time to compete, even with it against a team that's under 500, when it's finally time to compete.
Right.
He can't live up to what he's being paid. But that's not merely the issue. That we have other issues that are going on. The Micah situation, of course. I don't disagree with the way Dan Quinn utilizes Micah. Micah is still very young, so he has lots of ways to go in terms of optimization. So you can use him more, but keep him on the edge a little bit more. But at the same time, we have to invest in that interior. The Eagles are beating us in the arms race right now. They are a better football team than we are right now. It's just no doubt about it. They're going to be competing for a Super Bowl. They will be around the NFC Championship in some way, shape, or form. If they don't get there, they will lose by a couple points. But they will be around that NFC Championship game. I can't say the same about my Dallas Cowboys.
Do you think the Cowboys can beat the Eagles if we play tomorrow?
No.
If we play Sunday?
Hell no.
How will we lose? How will we lose against the Eagles?
They're going to do what they did against us last time. They said it's probably going to be worse because they think Dak can pull us out of holes, and he's not that type of quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback, and that's going to end up being the problem. But the premise of the point is basically all they have to do is just do what they did against us, just run the ball very efficiently. Like I said, the interior of our defense isn't all the way there. It's just not there.
Hold on. So with that argument, right? The Washington team is better than the Dallas Cowboys right now. If we play if we play Washington Sunday, can we beat the Washington?
We can go tit for tat. Like, I can say the same thing about basically the Packers because the Vikings beat the Packers. Are we supposed to beat them? Like, I don't know. Like, okay, I get what you're saying.
Right. I'm trying to make it objective as possible.
No team is gonna go undefeated, Law. You know this. Even some of the greatest teams, really, to be honest with you, is wild card teams that have a couple losses that get that momentum late in the season. You know that. So no team is going to just be perfect. Yeah, of course, you're probably going to lose a game or two against one of your NFC division rivals that have no chance of making the postseason. We see that.
Let me flip it back on you, Dan. So if the Washington team were to play the Eagles again, let's say this weekend,
they would get dominated. They would get dominated. And you know that. The Eagles, I'm sure, were laughing going into the locker room. They were laughing after the game because they know they're the better football team. Like, so don't sit here and try to paint a picture that Washington is just all of a sudden, they can compete with some of the best teams in the NFL. All of a sudden. No. That's just not the case.
Well, how did the Washington team beat the Eagles team?
Yeah, they stuck to their formula. What you were getting at earlier, they stuck to their formula. That's all Dallas has to do. But my point is, when the formula comes crashing down, is he that quarterback to make those key throws when we just need them the absolute most? Can you put that certainty in Dak Prescott?
Well, let me ask you this though.
You can't really do it.
Look. Oh my God, man! You sneaky, Hakeem. Hakeem, you painted me against the wall, man, and you nailed me onto the cross right now because right now, when all of the chips were pushed to the middle of the table, ultimately we had second and 4, right? And Coach Mike McCarthy, they passed it on second down. They passed it on third down. They passed it on fourth down. You know, maybe they put it all. They put it all in the hands of Rain Dakota Prescott, and that's what you was going to go with it. That's what you're going to go with it.
Fall flat on their face.
It fall flat on their face. But what I was saying is that, boy, would it have been nice if they knew they was going to go for it, if they would have ran it and gave us a fresh set of downs so that Dak Prescott can be 1st and 10 to get this thing going again. But I get what you're saying. Somebody want to know this question right here. What is your definition of what you say down there, an elite quarterback or a great quarterback? What is your definition? Defined by Hakeem.
Here we go. Okay, Joe Burrow. What Joe Burrow did, coming off an injury, leading his team to a Super Bowl. His team wasn't even really a Super Bowl caliber football roster, but he still took them all the way to the promised land. In games throughout the postseason in which they were losing. That's a great quarterback. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and his antics and the things that he does, he's a great quarterback.
Okay.
I want to say Russell Wilson, but I mean, we've been seeing the way he's been performing this season. We could no. See, and this is where y'all like I'll be the one laughing late in the season. If they can put it together. If they put that team together, Y'all not going to be laughing no more at Russell Wilson. But anyway.
Did they win last week, though?
What have you done for me lately?
What have you done? Excuse me. So are you going to put Josh Allen in that conversation or excuse me?
Yes. Josh
did he fumble the back? Who had the worst game last week? Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? Who had the worst game? Who had the worst game last week? Josh Allen or Dak Prescott?
Oh, wow. Then you try to turn the question into that. I would say Dak had a worse game. He made some crucial interceptions that were horrible in the game.
Wait a minute.
He threw some crucial picks. Are you kidding me?
Last game, Josh Allen, did you see the game, what he did? Did he throw a crucial pick?
Okay.
Did he fumble the ball? Did he fumble the bag in the end zone? But
you're right.
Right. But he's
over 500.
Wait a minute. All right. So let's put the levels out here. Let's put the levels out here because I love you, man. So if Dak Prescott this week have a better game than what Josh Allen did against those Minnesota Vikings, would you say that Dak Prescott is better? If he goes for, let's say,
I can't speak about something that I haven't seen yet, Bob. I can't speak about something that I haven't seen.
Now I don't want you to disappear. Now I want you to disappear because we was on a winning spree and I was looking for you. I was looking for you, Hakeem. I was looking for you.
You believe we're gonna win? You believe we're gonna win this game after the way we lost that game against the Green Bay Packers?
Man,
wow.
I believe the score. Hold on.
The Vikings beat the Packers. Wow, yeah, you believe
wait a minute.
We're gonna wow.
Wait a minute. My mind is going. I'm going like Professor X. The Cowboys gonna win 31-28. It's gonna be the flip flop. We gonna win.
Man.
Hold on. The future's telling me.
It's not gonna be that hard for
it's 31-28.
We're going to put up some points, but I don't think we're going to go into the 30s. But, yeah, we're going to put up some points. That defense is pretty stout and pretty good.
It's a 7.
If we fall behind in that football game, well, you know what's going to happen to Dak Dakota Prescott. You know exactly what's going to happen. If we fall behind in that football game, y'all know what's coming. Y'all know what's going to happen. I don't want to hear nothing about them fourth quarter calorie stats, none of that. Nothing. Because it's going to be too late.
And Hakeem, you did just mention that defense is pretty good. So if this team comes laser focused and stout, so if this team come in there, because they got Zadarius Smith, I like him. They got the other kid that was on the other edge over there. They got Harrison Smith. Patrick Peterson. So zero excuses. So if this team put up 31 points to their 28,
they're not going to put 31 points on that. They're not going to put them. I'll say this. My score prediction is, 27-24. 27-24. I don't know who's going to be on the winning end of that because Dak and Kirk Cousins, they have the similar type of stats this season. They're pretty relatively the same, but Dak usually does prevail against Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's 4-1 against Kirk Cousins. He's 4-1 against Kirk Cousins.
4-1. But Kirk knows that too, though.
That's his doppelganger.
So Kirk is itching to get him back too. So it's going to be that type of game. So I just can't see them coming out there just thinking they're about to just roll over that team. That's going to be a hard dogfight to the end. So in which Dak might fumble the bag once more again and make us all disappointed. Like I said, 27-24. I don't know who's going to be on the winning end of that column. I really don't. I just think that's going to be the score. It can go either way, but I believe it's going to be there for our team to win. But they're going to find a way to lose it again because Mike McCarthy, he's not a Vrabel type of coach. Like Mike Vrabel, he's not that type of coach to where he's going to just put the fear in his players to pull this out. He's not that. So, yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay, if you look on the screen, they the same quarterback, huh? I saw this stat line. I thought of you, man. I thought of you and Brandon. You see, look on my screen right now. You can see that. They the same. They the same person, huh?
They literally are. Look at it. I'm looking at it. Are you looking at it? Are you looking at it? They are. Yes. They are literally the same person, Law. Look. They are literally Kirk, the way Kirk and them have been winning is he hasn't been having to do too much. But when his number is called, Kirk Cousins, he's having that little Eli Manning gene in him. He's kind of different this season. He's kind of different. Y'all are sleeping on him. He's kind of different this season. I don't know what it is about him, but I guess Justin Jefferson, I don't know. But he has that little Eli Manning gene in him to where when his number is called for where he has to make certain key throws, he's making them.
So you mean to tell me if you give Dak Prescott, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and T.J. Hawkinson in a good running game, we'll be 8-1, huh?
Probably not.
Whoa! So wait a minute. So you thinking that Kirk Cousins is better than Dak?
Oh, this is what you were trying to create. In some ways, yes, he is playing better than Dak because he's playing within the confinements of their system, doing what he's being asked of him to do. He's not doing too much, but he's not doing too little. Dak, he gets to where he tries to do too much, and that's where his problem comes in. Not even doing too much. I don't even know a lot of the complexities going on in Dak's head when he's reading coverages. I really don't. I try to sit there and literally go through the progressions with him, and sometimes I wonder, is he really ready for this? Is he ready to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the most beloved team in the whole entire world, and truly deliver for us with his arm? I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he's that. And to be honest with you, he's not that in many ways. Kirk Cousins has been delivering for his football team. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. I would rather have Kirk Cousins this season.
Okay. This gonna be. I might put your name in the title of the game, play-by-play, man, on this coming Sunday, man. My God, my brother Hakeem. So this is the Hakeem Super Bowl game, right? To see which one gonna be the king of the Cowboys quarterback. Talk.
Yeah, we got to stop that run game unless if we don't, Dalvin Cook's gonna run all over us, and Kirk is gonna have a field day. If they get the running game going, Kirk is gonna win that game. If they get the running game going, and and that's something y'all don't want to have to accept. That's something y'all do not want to have to accept.
But let me ask you this.
Dynamic in their run game.
Let me ask you this though: is Kirk Cousins better than Matthew Stafford? Look at that pause there, baby.
No.
Wait a minute. I know. Don't have me to pull up them stats. Don't have me pull up them stats. If I pull up them stats, Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott stats are a whole lot better than what we've seen out of Stafford in the last since 2016 or what have you. So that's why I asked you that.
If you're talking in particularly about this, I'm thinking you're talking about in terms of a body of work. If you're talking in particularly about this season, yeah, Kirk is better than Matthew Stafford, obviously. But I'm thinking you were talking about.
Well, who had a better season last season then? Last year, Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford?
Matthew Stafford.
Because they won the Super Bowl. If you put Kirk Cousins on the Rams, would they win the Super Bowl? You getting? I think you got. I think you got me where I'm going with it, though. I think you got it where I'm going with it, right?
I mean, Kirk is that type of quarterback, though. That's what I'm right there with you. Kirk is that type of quarterback. We're seeing it this season. Law. We are seeing it this season. Yes, to answer your question, they probably would have won the Super Bowl. Yes, they probably would have.
So why Dak can't? Why not Dak?
I don't know. That's why I be trying to ask y'all, like, what's wrong with him?
What I'm saying is, man, don't the system make the quarterback look good, don't it?
It does make the quarterback look tremendously great. But we've seen it time and time again to where our system comes crumbling down. See, y'all try to make it just a black and white issue. Once our system breaks down to where we fall behind in football games, which is going to happen in this game here, if we don't stop the run, when we don't stop the run. It's coming. So when we don't stop the run and they get a lead on us, then Dak has the ball in his hand and the Vikings force him to make a play. That's when we see all his flaws come out in his truest light. Well. The Cowboy Nation goes back into play.
Man, I appreciate you so much for calling in. I thank you. So what's your score prediction? 27-24, right? And you don't know which team going to win, but it's just a score prediction.
I don't know. That's just my score prediction.
It just depended on which doppelganger is the best doppelganger.
Dak has to make some plays. Dak got to make some plays.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you for calling in, fam. Salute.
Yes, sir. Salute.
It's Hakeem, y'all. Put your head together for Hakeem, man. Oh, my goodness, man. So I truly believe that Hakeem, he's going to be watching this game. He's going to be watching this game, and this will be the game that we can put all of this stuff to rest. So if Dak Prescott put up, let's see, and I don't want him to do this too, by the way, because I want us to run the ball. I really do. I want us to run the ball. But if Dak Prescott put up 320 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and I don't care if Kirk Cousins put up, let's say, 150 yards, 2 turnovers or something like that, a fumble, I'm gonna put that old debate to bed, right? Or on the flip side, if Kirk Cousins go out here and light us up like a Roman candle, and Dak Prescott look like what he did last week or what have you, or even week 1, then I'm gonna finally say this, and I'm gonna give all of the people that say that Dak Prescott is the black Kirk Cousins, I'm gonna say, yeah, y'all won. But I truly believe that Dak Prescott is gonna have a better performance this weekend, and we're gonna come out with the dub. All right. Cowboy Nation, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. But that number is strikingly the same. Strikingly the same. And I got like when I saw this, when somebody hit me up with this, I had no wiggle room out of it, right? Outside of the head-to-head matchup, that Dak Prescott is 4-1 against Kirk Cousins. And I think the only one time that the Cowboys lost was when they kind of cheated us out of they cheated us out of that. Was he on that team then? That little aficionado kind of stepped in. Dak would have been 5-0 against Kirk Cousins, right? Right. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Facts King, it was the volumes chat goodness. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Jay Lombardi. They twins. It's from Verdi. Pass rushers is going to be in this face. Yeah, I'm going to need Hakeem to call Voch show with this. You know, there will be no holding back. Yeah, at Voch Live right now, y'all check out the volume or Voch Lombardi channel if they are live with that. Then have Hakeem to call in. Compare Dak and Kirk Cousins pre-30. Dak clears them. Yeah. I feel you on that, you know. I'm taking Dak Prescott over Kirk Cousins. I don't care what these numbers show, right? I'm taking Dak Prescott over Matthew Stafford. Yep. Chris 214 says, "Don't end the show on this caller, man. He's the last caller, though." But I feel everybody. Look at my guy Brandon Ross, man. I didn't get you today. You didn't jump in today, Brandon. But boy, y'all was hitting me up. You and Hakeem, week 1, week 2, week 3. But I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. This was a great show. Rewind for your mind for all of the stuff that we went over. As far as the matchups, I didn't even go over the matchups for crying out loud. Didn't even go over the matchups. We were here for 3 hours and didn't go over the matchup. Jay Lombardi for the $4.99. Have a great weekend. Thank you for your support. We've been here for 3 hours and didn't go over the matchup. Here's the matchup right here. Points per game, 25.1 for the Vikings, 23.4 for the Cowboys. That number is steadily increasing, right? We were averaging 17 to 18 points a game, and now we're at 23.4. Points allowed is the Cowboys are allowing 18, right? So the Vikings are allowing 21. Okay, so that's a good indicator right there. So if we can be a plus 10 on it, right? And on top of that, yards, total yards. This is total yards. Collectively, the Vikings averaging right at 372. Cowboys 343. Passing yards allowing, or passing yards passing, I meant to say, is 208 versus their team 265. Yards rushing. We average more yards rushing on the ground. So that's 134. So if Tony Pollard, Zeke, back-to-back is out there, we control TOP, I see a weakness right there. We need to run this ball. They They only average of 107. So 134 for us, that means TOP, meaning that we have the ball more. We can figure out ways to play keep away and expound on that. Yards allowed. Y'all see that? They allowed total 400 yards. That's almost over 50 yards more than what we allow. So this could be a game that we can pass and run on them, keep it balanced. We would get over 400 yards on those guys, right? And these are just stats and numbers right here. But passing yards allowed, you see that? They allow nearly 281 yards. That's close to 300. That's close to 300. We only allow 206. But what's alarming to us, if you look down at the bottom, rushing yards allowed, we allow about 143. That's close to 150. In the last two games, we allowed over 200 yards. So we're gonna have to really, really peak this thing up. I say that from what I can look at, the biggest weakness on the Minnesota, just by looking at the stat line, and we are favored, I believe, in this game, or I think we are +2, or -2. I have to look it up, but you guys can post it down in the chat. I truly believe if the Cowboys stick to their philosophy in this game, we will win. Run the ball. I want Dak Prescott anywhere between 24 and 27 attempts. 24 and 27 attempts. And if Tony Pollard is starting, and Ezekiel Elliott, even with the bum knee or what have you, still give Zeke 10 touches. Let Pollard handle the 15. That would be my 25. Thomas Leach says Dallas a minus 1.5. Okay. And this is a road game, so, yeah, the money is still out there. So, all right, Cowboy Nation, let's continue to find ways. I really appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. That's been my time. I thank you all for yours. I forgot that I had a meeting to jump into. But, hey, let's go. Let's continue to grind. Let's get on up out of here. And as we depart, Cowboy Nation, a prize fighter, even when he's down, he continued to swing. He's continued to fight. He continued to figure out new ways to accomplish those things. And the Cowboys, we're 6-3, not 3-6. Let's go. Sadiq, we appreciate you. Shout out to all of the supporters. Right? You got to continue to fight. When you're up against your struggles, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders. Plant your feet and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fall, you may conquer, see it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim. But don't let your nerve desert you, keep yourself in fighting trim. If worse is bound to happen in spite of all that you do, remember, running from it will not save you. Even hope may seem futile. Then with trouble may be beset. Remember, you're facing what other legends have met. You may fall, but fall still fighting. See it through. See it through, Cowboy Nation. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Thank all of the supporters.